Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Go to GameSenseAB.ca. Hope you had a lovely weekend. Maybe you were the winner of the Friday Lotto Max, 70 million. Woo! Check your tickets. Just remember the deal. If you win, you're hosting a party. Totally valid. Totally fair. We have lots and lots to discuss on the show. The Edmonton Elks, was that terrible. Outside of their kicker or kickers, there is nothing that you would be excited about in that game. Nothing. Offensive passing, not good. Offensive run game, not good. Defensive pass game, terrible. Defensive run game, brutal. Discipline, not good. Like, what would you like about that game? I know, probably, the most entertaining part of that game was in one of the on-field promotions when they had, you could win a trip. It was like a flight package. And so the guy's blindfolded. And, man, he just sprints the wrong direction. And in those sandwich boards on the sideline. Does somebody have a video of that? Oh, my goodness. That was – now, he got up. He was a gamer. He got up, and he was back in it. But that was easily the high point of the game, sadly, for Elks fans. Because there wasn't a lot to be excited about in that game. 32-14, a late touchdown for the Elks. Like, what do they have? 100 total yards in offense, maybe, with about 5 minutes to go in that game. It was brutal. Trey Ford, he's actually been pretty good at hitting deep balls. He wasn't that game. Dunbar had his guy beat. If you just throw it ahead of him, it's touchdown. Ends up being a jump ball, gets intercepted at the 10. Then he overthrows two other guys wide open, including Mathis. And you're just like, what a difference. What, maybe it could have been. We'll never know, but wasn't good there. The defense, here's the thing. To me, the difference between the offense and the offense has shown stretches where they've been pretty consistent games. Run attack's good. Passing game. Like Trey Ford he just had a perfect QB rating in his last game. So you can't tell me he hasn't shown signs of improvement. Where's the improvement been on the defensive side of the ball? Nowhere. Like nowhere. Outside of one quarter in Winnipeg, the third quarter, this defense is getting shredded. Yeah, they beat Ottawa, but Ottawa still put up over 400 yards. So anytime there's a run play option, it's like the defenders don't know what the hell to do. Like they don't have an answer to it. It is stunning to me that the defensive line was supposed to be the strength of their team. It's not. Now, Jake Seresna, we'll find out. Obviously, after the game, coach gives you the usual, we don't know. They got to get wait and see. And that's fair. I understand it. The game, they're probably not going to get an answer unless you see an obvious, broken hand or foot or torn ACL, those kind of things you can know. But in other cases, it can be a tissue injury. You don't know how serious it is. So I get that. But that was ugly. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Eddie Steele is going to join us next hour. We got Rocky Thompson will join us, head coach of the Bridgeport Islanders. I know he was down to the wire, and I think he might have been their first choice for the Oil Kings, but he obviously had the offer to go pro, and he'll get back in. He wants to be a head coach again, so he's the head man for Bridgeport. Also, Steve Gardner from USA Today will be by to talk some baseball, which is All-Star Home Run Derby goes tonight. Then the All-Star game goes tomorrow, and we have the Jays with two All-Stars in Guerrero and Kirk, both deserving. There is the Jays. It's funny because they had that run. They were unreal. They won 10 in a row. But then they went 1-3 in their last 4 games going to the All-Star break. 1-3 against Oakland and the White Sox. So not great. And it's funny, after they won 10 in a row, now the Boston Red Sox have won 10 in a row, and they're right in the race. And suddenly you look at that American League East, And you've got, well, Tampa Bay's 5.5 behind Toronto, but the Yankees are only 2 and the Red Sox are only 3. And so, and if you look at it, really the Rays are the wild card team. So the Jays are 5.5 out of a wild card spot. So it's a tight race, man. Their first 25, 26 games out of the All-Star break, they got some tough competition. So as great as the Jays have played, they're going to have to keep going because everything is ultra tough and tight in the AL East. Woodley will be by. We'll be talking goaltenders. Spec, also Paul McFarland, new assistant coach of the Edmonton Oilers. He's kind of got the dream gig. He's been an NHL head coach or assistant coach before with stops in Florida, Toronto, and Seattle, but now he'll come into Edmonton and he gets to take over. Craig McTavish, I wrote an article on the weekend. McTavish kind of joked, man, I wouldn't want to be the guy taking over that power play because it's been a really good power play for a long time. Now, the good news is you still have all the guys. David, Draisaitl, Bouchard, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins. They'll be involved. You don't have to be the best. I don't think you got to be 32% again, but you're going to have to maintain a good, consistent level. It helps having those players. But what kind of tweaks can Paul bring? We'll find out. He'll join us. The Oilers, if you missed it, they filled out their coaching staff earlier today as Paul Coffey, as I had mentioned before, is not coming back. He'll return to his previous role as special advisor to ownership and hockey operations. Dustin Schwartz isn't coming back. Peter Aubry is the new goaltending coach, and Conor Allen is the new skills coach as David Pelche. He didn't have his contract renewed either, but he got a job with the Dallas Stars with Glenn Gulletson, who also departed. So they'll be down one less coach. Last year you had Gulletson, Coffey, Stewart, and Knobloch, and then you had the goalie coach and the skills coach. This year they'll have Stewart, Knobloch, and Paul McFarland, who was the head coach of the Calgary Hitmen this past year after being in the NHL with Seattle, Florida, and Toronto since 2018 between those teams. So one less guy. Coffey wasn't big on, he didn't do a ton of video. Most of his coaching was on the bench. So I don't know if it's going to be a massive, extra amount of work. They got their video guy, Noah Siegel's still there. McFarland's, younger guy. He'll be fired up. So I think they'll probably be okay. But we'll hear from some of Chris Knobloch's thoughts a little bit later on. Also, Connor Halley is back. Con man, how you doing?
Doing really good, Jason. It was nice to get a couple of weeks off on the show as I get back into the camera on YouTube. A little rusty here. Yeah, it was really good. Nice to spend a little bit of time out in BC, go to the pools, enjoy the heat. But glad to be back. Crazy couple of weeks, though. NHL free agency was fun to follow along. Maybe not the action we had hoped or had been anticipating, but all in all, a good couple of weeks. Happy to be back.
What did you make of the Elks game yesterday?
I didn't have the pleasure of being there in person, so I didn't even get a chance to see the promotion and the comedy that came with it. So for me, overall, quite bad. I like to play by Kittens Jr. on the touchdown. Too bad the game was out of reach. I liked how he bailed at his quarterback on a ball that kind of hung up there. But all in all, I mean, everything you said is true. I thought Trey Ford needs a little more touch on the deep balls, has a chance to convert on some key second downs and even put up more points, unable to do so. The defense, once again, is just getting, dragged through the mud. And then the Seresna injury, just to cap it all off, about as bad as it could have been. A guy who, has made a couple plays. I know he's not getting to the quarterback maybe at the frequency he would have liked, but got the interception. And then to go down like that, I mean, we're not doctors, not going to pretend to be one, but when a player leaves on a cart, it's usually one of a couple injuries, and it's not a good one. So it's gut check time. These guys, they got to find their game. The guys up front have to, get home, create a little bit more pressure. And then the secondary just got to try to eliminate the miscues as much as possible. Because, yeah, in the past, we've been able to look at certain parts of their game and say, hey, it's encouraging. But that game didn't have any. It just was not a good performance.
No, God, it was bad on a lot of different levels. So not ideal whatsoever. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. I know you're following along. The Jays, Con man, are you a believer in the Jays? Or you're like they had the great run, and I know it's been more than just 10 games. It's been basically a 2-month run, and so you can't maybe look at recently, but they do limp into the to the break 1-3 against Oakland and Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the ejection yesterday was quite funny.
What did you make? Did that not look like a home run?
Well, I mean, I get the argument, but I was just talking about like the exit for Schneider.
Yeah.
Like it was like Corey Perry getting kicked out of the outdoor game when you have to do the walk of shame to the chorus of boos. But I I had to kind of eat crow when the Jays were playing really good, but I just think this is who they are. Like they'll go on a good run, and then I feel like they're going to go on a stretch where they're going to play underwhelming baseball and return to mediocrity. And that was my opinion at the start of the season. I just feel like they're going to be a good team and they're going to have some good runs, but at the same time, they're going to have games where you're ripping your hair out and you're just frustrated with the group overall. And, finishing third in the AL just out of a wild card spot would not surprise me at all. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times, but to me, the Toronto Blue Jays, that's just kind of where they've been. They might give you some hope, but it's not going to be there at the end of the year. And I still feel like they're going to miss out on the playoffs, but hoping I'm wrong, Gregor, and hopefully they can regain their game and find what they were doing. Cause that was a fun team to watch when they were winning all those games.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They had a lot of involvement from a lot of different players, which is very key. So I look at the Jays and I still think they need another starting pitcher for sure. I would like, I think, one, maybe two arms in the bullpen. You get Varsho back. I think they have enough bats. Maybe you get a pinch hitter, but when you bring Varsho back in, somebody else can go to the bench that you like. So, we'll see in that regard. I think overall defensively they're pretty decent. I'm interested to see, like they just signed Guerrero to big money. Bo Bichette's having another really good season, but he's not a great defensive shortstop. He's good, but he's not great. And I don't know. I wonder what they'll do with Bo Bichette. Like I won't be shocked if he leaves.
No, and I had thought that, all off season, early in the season, like it would not surprise me at all if Bo Bichette just says, you know what, I want a fresh start somewhere else. Like you said, great hitter. But still, the really tough plays, it seems like he does have an issue making that accurate throw to first. Still sometimes see them sail it or put it a little low. I would love to see him back with Toronto, but I just feel like the way things have gone, he hasn't been as outspoken about wanting to stay as we saw from Vlad and really saying, I want to be here. I know that shifted a little bit, but I think he'll be gone unless they turn it around and really get going here. And I think if you're management, isn't this the time to send a message to a player like that? Like go out there and make some moves before the deadline and like you say, bring in a couple arms, show that you're committed to winning here. You gave Vlad the paycheck. Maybe that sways him and makes him want to stay. And, you get that commitment that this team does want to win. You go on a bit of a run, and maybe he hangs around. But I've kind of thought the whole time that the second he gets a chance to leave, he'll be gone.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's very possible. We'll kind of see where it goes from there. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I'm just curious, why is Woodley not a goalie coach from On-Away Rob? Well, Rob, it's funny. Now, Kevin's words, and he could say it again, but Kevin's told us many times he doesn't feel that he's experienced enough to be a goalie coach. He gets the pleasure to work around. He really understands the position, but does he understand it enough I think he could be at other levels for sure, but fair question to ask him. I think if you had a staff of 4, could he be one of the 4? Yeah, I think he probably could because, I think he understands where, how to move and how to go. He's on the ice lots. He works with lots of NHL goalies in the summer times in camps. Not the one running it though, right? Like there's, someone says, hey, this is what I wanted you to work on. And then he shows them that's what they work on. So, could he be part of a staff? I think so. If he wanted to, I guess in what role, but it's a fair question. I don't think he would probably be the first one to tell you. He wouldn't be ready to be like the main coach for a team as their lead NHL head coach or GM, or sorry, goalie coach, not head coach, but the head goalie coach. So, but he definitely, he understands a lot of the nuances out of the position and how to move and all that stuff. So, which is pretty vital, important. Hey, Gregor, what's your thoughts on the fact that they didn't replace Coffey? They just gave Stewart more responsibility. Does that mean Paul didn't do very much? Well, that might be a little bit of a stretch, Dan. I don't know if I would add the last line in that he didn't do very much. He was a lot of in-game and, he was very big on, coaching and as far as like in-game, he would talk to guys and then he did a lot of his kind of more mental reps. He didn't do a ton of video work, my understanding. So now that all depends. some guys probably use it. Now, that doesn't mean that they never got video work. He just didn't do a ton of it himself. So will Mark Stewart do it? Yeah, I think probably. I think there's a very good chance he will. So, and, Stewart's been done that before. So it's good. It gives him more opportunity. He obviously will be overseeing the penalty kill at the same time. And I think you have more than enough time to do both, to be honest, because a lot of time there are some similarities as well from, what you're going to do in your PK and obviously your defense are half your penalty kill. So they got to be pretty important. So we'll see what happens. But I don't, having one less guy on the bench, do I think that's a huge difference? Not really, to be honest. Sometimes I think, at any level, you can overcoach in game, right? NHL players are a little bit different. They can take stuff, but overall, I don't think that it's going to be significantly different or lacking on game day. That's a fair question. Quick break. We'll come back, talk to a guy who was on the NHL bench for many years. Now he's going back to be the head coach in the American League. Former Oilers head coach Rocky Thompson joins us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
On the rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Chat, grab, and 118th.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that Park is fright. People at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal? Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezers start at just $199. Barbecue start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below cost scratch and dent items in store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way.
Calgary rules.
But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood.
Trouble low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Ready for a career that's literally golden? B2 Gold just poured their first gold bar at the new mine in Nunavut, and you can be part of the foundation. They have 25 open roles for experienced mill operators on a fly-in, fly-out 3-week on, 3-week off rotation. Start with a base salary of $110,000 to $130,000 with all travel and benefits paid. These roles need to be filled now. Come to the Terrace Office Tower on July 17th and 18th. Email Edmonton Job Fair at b2gold.com to book an appointment. Bring your resume, references, and safety tickets.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through it on a busy Monday afternoon. How are you? Hope you're having a great day. Fun week. Maybe you're getting on some going on holidays, just kicking back, relaxing, watching the home run derby tonight, if that's your thing. Who knows? Enjoy it. Get out golfing. Try the $10,000 at Cattail Crossing before you're around. Check it out. It's fantastic. Can you hit a hole in one from 125 yards? Floating green. Try it. Check it out. Now, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. The international menu heist is happening right now, featuring world-famous flavors from Germany's Big Roasty, Belgium's Biscoff McFlurry, Italy's McPizza Bites, and Japan's Teriyaki Chicken. Only at McDonald's for a limited time. Right now, as we welcome back to the show, former NHL player, of course, NHL coach with the Oilers, has been a head coach in the Ontario Hockey League as well as the American Hockey League. Spent the last 5 seasons as an associate or assistant coach in the NHL with the Sharks and the Flyers. And now he's going back to running his own bench as the head coach in Bridgeport for the New York Islanders AHL affiliate. Rocky Thompson joins us again. Rock, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Gregor. How are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good. I'm really good. So, you know what? You were an assistant coach. You started your coaching career at the Oil Kings, and then you went to OKC, and then to Edmonton. Then you got your first head coaching job in the OHL, and then in the AHL. You went back to the NHL for 5 years and as assistant. And was it just kind of that pull of, man, I want to run my own bench, and if I want to be an NHL head coach, it's maybe better to be an AHL head coach?
Well, I do miss being a head coach. I mean, it's being an assistant in the NHL is a wonderful job. There's no doubt about it. And there's a lot of luxuries that come along with it, the food or the travel. But at the end of the day, your culture that is set by your head coach, and you do your best as an assistant coach to fulfill what they want in the culture. And to me, that is the most fun part about coaching, is setting the culture, creating a standard, and then getting the players to play and building the team. And that's really the responsibility of the head coach. I'm so excited to get that opportunity again, because I really did miss it.
So when you set the culture, Rocky, how do you go about doing that?
It's getting to know the guys first and foremost. So I feel like I'm a relationship type of coach, and I want to get to know the guys. And I believe once they get to know me, they'll start to trust me. And it's something that we're both going to build together, the player, the individual, and myself. And that's always when you get the best results, and you'll be able to teach them the things you want them to learn, and you'll get to grow that culture and have them start to me, the ultimate goal as a head coach is to get the players to play hard for each other, not for me. And if you can create that environment, because they're the ones that are in the trenches. I remember when I was a player, I had coaches that I really thought highly of. And if you asked me a question back then, I probably would have even said, yeah, I play hard for them. But at the end of the day, it's the guys that you're in the trenches with, your brothers on the bench, that you're willing to die for. And that's the kind of environment I want to create and have created in the past, and looking forward to doing it again.
So you mentioned to get to know the players. Obviously, you get hired there. You look over the roster and everything, but you're talking more on just like a day-to-day basis, what makes guys tick and how you can motivate them differently, because each player gets motivated differently.
Yeah, without a doubt, when you communicate, there's different kind of communication styles. Some guys are more social and outgoing. Other guys are reserved, and you got to figure out, how you can communicate, what makes it work. But really, I just want to get to know them as people first. I like that part. For me, all my work gets done when I'm at home at night. I'm a hockey nerd, a hockey junkie. So when I get to the rink in the morning, it's not like, okay, my work is going to start. That's when I get to go out and just chat with the guys, not about hockey. Of course, sometimes, I'd want to show somebody video or whatever, teaching things, but I don't want to be that guy. And I'm not that guy that when you walk down the hall, you see me and it's like, oh, here comes coach again with a computer in his hand. I just want to, how was your guys' night? What did you do? You know what I mean? Not that I'm going to be overbearing. It could just be short things. I like joking with the guys and having just that social outlet when we're there. And then when it's time to work, they know I'm intense. They know I'm demanding, and hey, it's time to work. We're going to get to it, and we're going to help each other here. But there's a time and a place for that, and there's also a time and a place just to have fun and enjoy yourself.
Rocky Thompson joins us. Rock, the last few years, you coached under John Tortorella, who's been around, won a Stanley Cup. He's coached a long, long time. What did you learn from John?
I learned so many different things from him. Now, him and I are different styles of coaches, without a doubt, but the one thing is he's very compassionate and very caring. And that's something that nobody ever sees. Like, I didn't know Torts before working with him. So all I saw was the persona that I saw on TV. And that's not what he's like as a person. And I always wondered before I worked with him, like, man, how does he get the players to play so hard? Because he is so demanding. And I was able to see that on the inside. We all have our own styles on how we do things or how we hold people accountable. But at the end of the day, it's because Torts is very, very giving. He's not a condescending person. He's very black and white. So when he has an issue with a player, it doesn't matter who it is, they know what that issue is. So there is no gray area, and they know what the truth is. He doesn't play head games or anything like that. It's just like, hey, you're not playing good. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be the captain of the team. It could be a first-year guy. He will let you know that. But at the end of the day, the guys know that Torts has their backs. And that's how I kind of realized, I'm like, oh, that's how he does it, because he's a caring person and he'll go to war for them.
Now, when you say your different styles, are you talking because he's super demanding and you're not? In what ways do you find yourself different?
In how we hold players accountable is different. Well, I'm very demanding. I'm very intense. I'm not as with the team oriented. I hold players accountable with the team in a team atmosphere. Individual accountability for me is more private. That's just been my style and how I go about doing things, where Torts is not. He's very public in his accountability in front of the players. Okay.
And some guys are going to react to it well and some aren't. And that's just kind of part of it. Rod, you were, running the power play at times in Philadelphia the last few years, and it didn't have success. So I'm sure when you watch that, when you go back and you look at it, what did you learn most about the struggles? Because sometimes you learn more from struggles than you do success.
Well, I learned a lot, and it made me a lot better coach. I think I've always felt like I was a good communicator, but I was able to communicate and work with the players more. So I learned about that. And I also learned as a coach, there's only so much that you can do as well, but you never give up trying. I never gave up. I was always trying to improve it and to do better and to, get the players' opinions. That was something that kind of grew throughout the year. And then I looked around the league and I saw what works, and am I doing something that other people aren't doing or not doing, for example. And so it was a very frustrating thing, but at the end of the day, because there was, the power play was a struggle before I got here. And I really thought in my heart that I could make a difference, because I'd always done a good job with the power play. Yeah. And it just didn't get any better. It was a struggle. It was very humbling. And at the end of the day, I did everything that I possibly could to try and make it better. And I just couldn't. And so I think that that's obviously what cost me my job. And, I hold myself accountable for that. And, just like when I was a player, if I did something wrong, it's on me. And so I blame myself for that. And like I said, I did grow a lot over those 3 years though, and learned a lot of new things that I didn't know going in, that at the end of the day is going to make me a better coach and a better head coach for sure.
Rocky Thompson joins us. Rocky, when you look at that roster for Bridgeport, and it's never 100% because obviously, there'll be some players who who stay up there. You know, they've got some good young players, you know, like Callum Ritchie. I don't know if he's going to stick in the NHL or not, but maybe he'll be down there. Do you kind of start to piece out what your roster is, or as part of being an NHL coach is you don't really do that until the NHL cuts come? How do you balance that?
Exactly what you said. You don't do it until the cuts come because you really don't know what your team's going to look like. I just finished development camp, so I could see the players that I am going to have, the younger guys, the guys that were there last year or came at the end of the year out of college. And so I wasn't evaluating them. So I really don't know them much as players outside of looking at stat sheets, et cetera. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to get to know them. I just wanted to talk to them, get to know them, establish a good relationship so that moving forward, they get to know me, you know, how I communicate and stuff. So at the end of the day, I really don't know. I know the Islanders did a great job. They did sign a few players that we didn't have that came from other teams in the American Hockey League, and we got a little bit of sandpaper, which I love. And it is a tough division, as you know, Lehigh Valley Phantoms are in the same division, and I would watch their games when I was in Philly and stuff. And it is a physical division, and that was something that Bridgeport was lacking in the past. And so I think we remedied that over the summer. And, you know, there's some good players that were signed to bigger contracts. From an American League standpoint, I think they're high-end two-way contracts and stuff. So again, they have opportunities to potentially make the Islanders, but there is a chance that if they don't, because they got the Russian player that was a free agent, and they got Drouin from Colorado. So there were some players on that were signed in free agency that will, you know, some people didn't think were going to be there. So that usually pushes players down to me, which would be a good thing for us.
Now, Rock, in the last decade, you've been a head coach in the OHL, a head coach in the NHL, an assistant and associate coach in the NHL. 3 different levels. You obviously were learning a lot, but you were almost a decade in at that point, having been at the 3 levels in the WHL, the AHL, and the NHL prior to that. What has been the biggest change you've seen overall at the different levels, and maybe the difference now in the NHL to the OHL or AHL to the NHL? Is it significantly different for a coach?
Not really when you look at June, at least in the OHL. I mean, the Western League was a little bit different back then, but there was a lot of control and power with the players in the OHL through their agents. And so there was a political game that you had to play there. And those guys are, you know, for lack of a better word, they're stars in junior. And at the same thing kind of goes on in the National Hockey League is you have your stars at the NHL level. So I always thought that when I was coaching in junior, that really helped prepare me, especially because I had a good team and I had some first round guys in Windsor, that it was preparing me on how I would deal with, you know, if I ever got the opportunity in NHL with the superstars and stuff like that. And so there isn't much of a difference right there, because I don't want to say humbling, like in the American Hockey League, let me put it this way, they get humbled, the players that come there. They realize, holy smokes, I got to get better if I'm going to play in the National Hockey League, because the American League humbles its players. And so players go down there, it's really hard to generate offense, etc. That doesn't happen in junior, and in the NHL, it can actually be easier in some circumstances because of the guys that you're playing with. So that humbling factor sometimes doesn't happen. And so you know, they're a little bit more willing in the American League to listen to you, to help you. It's a little bit of a different animal in junior, especially with your top end talented players, and then your stars at the NHL level as well. If you get your 3rd and 4th line guys, they're going to do whatever you need to do at the NHL level because they want to stay there and they're detail oriented, and that's why they're there. When you're dealing with the guys who are superstars and stuff, they're good. And every now and again, some of them are, you know, super, basically are willing to listen and learn and, you know, kind of get better in that way. But I mean, these guys are already so good. Sometimes it can be hard for them, you know, to get past that barrier. So like I was kind of going on a little bit of a tangent here, but that's kind of the similarities between the junior and the NHL. The American League might be the easiest to coach when it comes to the players, but it's the hardest league to win in because your roster is always changing and you're always doing things on the fly, and the travel's a lot more hectic and tougher. So those are the different challenges. Yeah.
And also that, you know, from organization to organization, some go with veteran teams, others go with a lot of young guys, and, you know, that can make a big difference. So when you're interviewing for this job, Rocky, and I know you wanted to be a head coach again, you told us that, because I know that you were interviewed for the Edmonton Oil Kings job. They really wanted you, but obviously you had the opportunity to go pro. How many different interviews have you done here? And do you feel you're better as a coach interview? Like, is there a skill set in interviewing for jobs that you find as a coach?
I guess I don't know. I people have said that I've interviewed well, and I did have probably 5 interviews.
Okay.
And so with with my interviews, I had a presentation ready, and I never even got to go to X and O's on some of the things, which I really like. Like I said, I kind of a hockey junkie and love that kind of thing when talking systems and stuff. But really, that's kind of Billy Moores was a big mentor of mine. Everybody knows Billy in Edmonton.
Yeah.
And he talked about the arts and the sciences of coaching, right? And I love the science of coaching. That's your X's and O's.
Yes.
And to me, though, the fun part, like that is fun because I love that stuff. But really, to get your team, you could be the best, smartest coach when it comes to X's and O's, and your team could be absolutely, awful because it's hard to teach players if you don't have the art of coaching down. And the art of coaching is the culture. It is the relationship. It's building the team. And if you knew nothing about the science of coaching and you had the art of coaching down, your team could still be really successful because they're going to play hard and they're going to compete. When you can blend those two things together, now you have an opportunity to I think, maximize the potential of the players and the team that you have. And so I feel like that's kind of been my strength, and I can communicate that in the interview process. And so that's what they were told. And that's what I take great pride in it, because it is hard to describe culture in an interview.
Yeah.
But I think I found a way to do it this year, more so than other years, actually.
And when you do go through that, like, I'm assuming you have an agent, or do you just call the organizations? How does it go? Do they call you? How does it work? There's a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. Sometimes, sometimes you're headhunted. When it's so funny. I was getting headhunted for American League jobs when I was still had a job with Philly.
Okay.
And it's so funny. All of a sudden I get fired, and all of a sudden it's like your phone ain't ringing. Nobody's headhunting you anymore. It's like, man. So I was really reaching out to everybody, and some people were great. And I was applying for, assistant coaching jobs as well, because, I never know if I was going to get an opportunity in either situation. So you basically apply for everything. And some people were great and they return your call, and some people just ghost you. And so when I got the job in Bridgeport, I made a note that everybody who had reached out to me, email or text message me, no matter who they were, where they're from, I wanted to interact with them to let them know that I wasn't interested, because I was going through it just weeks before that. And I'm like, man, I don't want to bug these people, but they don't even respond. I'm like, did they even get my message? You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But it is a rat race. That's for sure. It's tough on everybody.
I would think so, yeah. Well, Rock, it's always good to catch up with you, man. It's been a while, so congratulations getting back to being the head coach, and we'll talk to you again throughout the year. Enjoy the summer and enjoy Bridgeport.
Thanks, Gregor. I'll be back home here in a couple of weeks, too, to get a little bit of Edmonton time.
Oh, nice. How's because you got multiple kids going on. Are they still running you ragged on the sports, or what?
Yeah, my youngest daughter is we dropped her off at University of Connecticut. She'll start as a freshman next year, and she plays on our hockey team. My oldest daughter just graduated from Northeastern, and she captained her team.
Nice.
And then the other boys are older and they're working back home. So
now
we had our kids young. My wife and I had our kids really young.
Well, I forgot your kids. I guess I remember you when you first came in at the Oilers. I guess your kids would be a little bit older now. Time flies, man. Time flies. So your daughters. Now with the PWHL, Rock, that's something that was just, that's pretty new, for girls, and that, like, even from your oldest daughter to your youngest daughter, right? Like when your oldest daughter started, there wasn't even a PWHL. Now your youngest daughter starts college, and she could have aspirations if she wants to go PWHL. Like it's a short period of time. It's changed a lot for girls hockey.
Yeah, it's been great. And to me, we always thought that, their NHL was the NCAA, and getting a scholarship and competing at that level is the best. And my oldest daughter probably could have got drafted, but she was ready to move on and start the next phase of her life and a career and go to postgraduate school. My younger daughter, I don't know where she's going to go yet, how she's going to be, but she's really excited just to start that initial journey in the NCAA. So, and it's UConn. So it's right beside Bridgeport. I might even get to watch a few games this year, which is great.
That would be awesome. Well, thanks, Rock. We appreciate it, man. Enjoy that. We'll talk to you again soon.
You bet. Take care, boys.
There you go. That's Rocky Thompson, head coach of Bridgeport. Really, it's funny when you see Rocky Thompson on the ice and you see videos, people are like, oh my God, that guy was a lunatic. But Rock is one of the smartest hockey guys I've ever spoke to. and he's super passionate. He has tons of passion as a coach. I loved it how he described him and Tortorella, and just how compassionate he was. And I think that's such a key word to have as a successful coach, because if the players, you could be hard on someone, but if they know that you care about them, it makes a big. It's kind of like parenting, honestly, right? Like you set some guidelines, you love them, you show up, and you be there, you be present, all that stuff. They're much more willing to be there than the ones who are kind of absent, shall we say. So wish him that. I won't be surprised if at some point you see Rocky Thompson as an NHL head coach at some point. Take a quick break. We'll return, and man, we do have the All-Star break, and we'll talk a little bit about the All-Star game, but more about what's coming afterwards, because it is going to be absolutely wild, specifically in the AL East. We'll discuss it next. It's the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
The Discover Days sales event has been extended at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $7,500. Final month extended. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $4,000. Save up to $7,500 on a 2025 demo XC40. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Are you looking for safe and professional travel options? Look no further than Silent Rides, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Mr. Rooter rides in a hot air balloon.
Oh, wow. You can really see it all from up here. The river crossing the city like a water line, the Walterdale like PVC pipes, and the cars circling the Anthony Henday like waste swirling a toilet bowl. Which reminds me, which way to the bathroom?
There's no toilet in a hot air balloon.
Well, I will have to remedy that.
For a plumber who soars above the others, trust Mr. Rooter.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.244. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Of course, big Oilers news today. They have finalized their coaching staff as they add Paul McFarland, of course, who is being assistant coach in Florida, Seattle, and Toronto. He will now be running the power play for the Oilers. Peter Aubry is the new goaltending coach, and Conor Allen will come in as their skills coach. Paul Coffey, of course, not going to be on the staff. Mark Stewart will take over the defense and looking after the penalty kill. Let's, we talk about that a little bit later on. But, of course, tonight, the big event in sports is the Home Run Derby. That's big. And then, of course, you have the All-Star game, and then MLB returns. And when they return to regular season action, man, it is going to be an absolute dogfight. What a race in the AL East. To discuss all that, maybe even a little bit on the draft, Steve Gardner from USA Today, MLB writer, joins us. Steve, man, there's lots going on right now in baseball. You just have the draft. You have kind of quasi first half, even though we know it's more than the first half, just wrapping up. So I'm going to ask you, as we head into the All-Star break, what has been the biggest surprise for you and maybe the biggest disappointment in the hashtag first half of the MLB season?
Well, Jason, I think in terms of surprises individually, I have to say Pete Crow Armstrong becoming one of the best players in Major League Baseball was something I did not see coming. I mean, you look at his plate discipline, it's pretty rough. He had a lot of trouble making contact last season, but he has just blossomed into one of the premier players in the league this season. And his AL counterpart, I think, maybe Cal Raleigh, with 38 home runs at the break, more than Aaron Judge, more than anybody. And I don't know that anybody saw that coming when we started the season. So those two have been the biggest eye openers. In terms of disappointments, I look at more maybe teams than individuals, and focusing on the Atlanta Braves for one,
right,
that I thought would be an incredibly tough team, and I think they're my pick for the division winner in the NL East. And then the Baltimore Orioles too have been a huge disappointment in the AL East, with the worst record in the division, one of the worst in the American League, with a roster that seemed like it should be a playoff contender and possibly World Series contender this season. So that's what I think off the top of my head.
Yeah, and even crazy is Baltimore's actually played okay baseball for the last 6 weeks. They were just so terrible to start that it's too big of a hole, especially in the AL East, when you got the top four teams are separated by 5 wins from the Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays. And, the Jays won 10 in a row. Now Boston has wheeled off 10 in a row. The Yankees had led the division for most of the year until Toronto just passed them recently. They had lost 6 in a row, decimated by some injuries. Of those 4 teams, who do you like best in the second half? Or is it going to depend on what one of those teams adds before the deadline at the end of the month?
Yeah, I think it kind of upped the stakes in the trade deadline sweepstakes because of the way that the Blue Jays and Red Sox have come on. The Yankees had threatened to run away with the division early, and now they're all looking at where they can improve, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. I think there are some holes for all the teams where how they fill those could determine who's the front runner going forward. So yeah, the next few weeks until the trade deadline, I think we'll see some serious jockeying. I like what the Blue Jays have. I think they're trending obviously in the right direction, whereas the Yankees aren't. But be careful about the Red Sox. Something is going on with them, and playing better despite trading away arguably their best player in Rafael Devers. That's kind of when they've caught fire. Yeah. And so that's really intriguing to me, what is going to happen with Boston in the second half of this season.
Yeah, well, it is crazy, right? You trade away your best player. Like, I don't know, something going on in the clubhouse. It definitely makes you wonder.
Well, they wanted him to play first base, and because they moved him from third base to designated hitter full time, he wasn't really enthused about the way that they coaxed him into, or tried to coax him into, playing the field. So I think just the dissension in the clubhouse and all of that distraction got to be too much, certainly for the decision makers, and they tried to make the best of what was a pretty bad situation.
Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, as they call him, quite the moniker for certain. Here he is in his I'm going to say it's his fourth full season, and he gets better every year. 27 home runs, then 30, then 34. Now he has 38 at the All-Star break, with like 82 RBIs already. Like, he's on pace to absolutely crush what his season was last year. And I know it's early and it's only year 4, but when you look at a guy like Cal, do you wonder and say, man, like, this guy is projecting that he's going to put himself in the conversation, one of the greatest catchers we've ever seen?
Well, he's certainly on pace to have one of the greatest offensive seasons as a catcher. And, he's very good defensively as well. So it could be one of the greatest all-around seasons a catcher's ever had. I think Johnny Bench, Mike Piazza, you put the standards, Ivan Rodriguez, maybe those three. And I guess you could go back to Yogi Berra or somebody even further back. But in terms of what Raleigh has done so far, it's just amazing. And the fact that he could challenge the single season home run record as a catcher, as somebody who gets beat up behind the plate and only occasionally DHs, it's one of the more remarkable feats in all of Major League Baseball right now. And the numbers seem to back it up. His StatCast numbers, barrel rate, exit velocity, he should be hitting all those home runs, and it's not easy to hit them in Seattle. That's even more impressive.
Yeah, no, it's true. And then you throw in the fact, like, he's got double digits in stolen bases too, for fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for those people who play fantasy baseball, that's like the icing on top of the cake, because you don't expect a catcher to go out there and actually steal bases for you too. You expect him to save, cut down those base runners on defense.
Yeah, no, it is like, it's a very impressive season. I remember Pudge, I think it was like 1999. I think he had 25 stolen bases, right? And then Jason Kendall, I think, had over 20.
Kendall,
right?
Right.
Craig Biggio, I think when he played catcher one year too, he had I don't know, 20 some or something like that. So it's rare. It's like he's on pace, so it could get to close to 20 stolen bases, which is mind blowing. Like, everything he's doing doesn't seem like a normal catcher. So what does he do so well in your eyes?
It's a number of things, and I think just the contact that he makes, the solid contact, the consistent contact, those stats. Even last year, you look at his StatCast page, and he's still barreling the ball up with the best players in all of Major League Baseball. Exit velocity is still high. I mean, this is not everything that I look at in terms of the numbers. It's not a fluke. Now, hitting as many home runs and that he has done so far this season, I don't know if we can really expect that to continue at the same clip, but the skills are all there. And, he's just maturing. He's still young. He's still 28. And, I think what we're seeing is just a superstar becoming one in front of our eyes this year.
Talking all things baseball, Steve Gardner joins us. Steve, the All-Star game, it's still a pretty big deal. I think it's the best of the All-Star games because, the pitchers can come in and they can throw heat. They're only in for an inning, right? Like, it's a closest facsimile to just how you pitch in a real game. Obviously, the guys are swinging to hit home runs, and that's what makes it, I think, a very impactful All-Star game. But what about the home run derby? Who do you like and why?
Well, I like O'Neal Cruz tonight, and I think he's probably the favorite, or should be, just because, talking about exit velocities, I mean, his are better than anybody this season, ahead of Aaron Judge, ahead of Giancarlo Stanton, all of the people that you think of and associate with hitting the ball really hard. I think this is kind of a breakout opportunity for him, playing in Pittsburgh, not getting a lot of national attention. He's got the long levers that generate a ton of momentum and power. I think it'll be fun to watch him. I think Junior Caminero, also of the Rays, is somebody who has some tremendous power that hasn't really gotten his chance at a national stage. So it would not surprise me if it came down to those two, and Cal Raleigh maybe cedes the power hitting spotlight for just a brief moment.
Well, I love that you go with O'Neal Cruz because he has the fewest home runs of anybody in the regular season thus far. Who's in it, right? I think he has 16, and so it's you're definitely not picking the favorite. So I kind of like that. Give me your thoughts on the Toronto Blue Jays. Are they as legit as they've been here for the last 2 months? You still see concerns? What do you see about their team and their lineup?
Well, I mean, the first thing, if I'm taking the long view, is I look at what their run differential is so far this season. And the Yankees, who've been good for the entire season, they're one of the best teams in the majors in scoring more than they give up. And they're at plus 111 at the break.
Yeah.
The Jays only plus 17.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would give me a little bit of concern. Now, certainly they've been a lot better lately than they were at the beginning of the year when they were building up a lot of that negative differential. But, can the Jays score enough and can the pitching be staunch enough to not give up a whole bunch of runs? That's the question that we'll have to see once the second half starts. In terms of talent, obviously the Jays have had a lot of people contribute, and I think that's been the key, especially lately. As Addison Barger has become, one of the key players in that lineup and on that roster, didn't really have we weren't really thinking a whole lot about him as the season started, but he's been important. Alejandro Kirk has had a very good season. And of course, Vlad Guerrero and George Springer has been fantastic, kind of a resurgent season for him. So all of those guys need to continue to perform at top levels. And obviously the pitching staff has got to be solid. Kevin Gossman needs to be a little bit more consistent. Maybe they get something out of Max Scherzer. And I think the key for Toronto going forward is getting those guys that are injured back into the lineup and productive again. You've got Anthony Santander, obviously who they picked up as a free agent and gave him a nice contract this off season, has been hurt for a good chunk of the year. Getting him back would be a huge bonus. And Andres Jimenez as well, Dalton Varsho as well, and Scherzer too. So there's a lot of room, even if the Blue Jays don't make a big splash at the trade deadline. Getting those guys back on the active roster and healthy is a huge improvement also.
Who do you think is going to be like the biggest impact pitcher available at the deadline?
Oh, goodness. I mean, Zach Gallen gets thrown out a lot. And, because he has a lengthy track record, the Diamondbacks, probably with all the injuries that they've had this season, will probably be a seller. Playing in the Dodgers division and the Padres division,
right,
and being under 500. So I think Zach Gallen, maybe a change of scenery benefits him as well, because he struggled tremendously and seems like he's given up home runs all over the place. So I would think he might be the most impactful pitcher that we see on the market and could certainly help a lot of teams.
Great rundown, man. I really appreciate it, Steve. Enjoy the All-Star game and then the Home Run Derby, and hopefully get a little bit of time off before the second half starts later this week.
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
Steve Gardner from USA Today. Great comprehensive rundown there of Major League Baseball. You look at the AL East, the Jays, the Yanks, the Red Sox, the Rays, separated basically by 5 games. And the problem is the fourth place team. Now, you could have all 4 of them make the playoffs, but then they'd have to beat out Seattle, who has 51 wins at this point. So it's very much possible that you could have 4 from the AL East. The Tigers are, they got 11.5 point game lead over Minnesota Twins. They're looking pretty good position. Houston's 5 up. So, not like crazy safe if we're saying Toronto isn't safe with a 5-game lead over Tampa Bay, but they're doing all right. In the NL, the Phillies and the Mets, that is an unreal race for first place in the NL East. The Cubbies and the Brewers, same thing. The Dodgers do have a 5.5 game lead on the Padres. So obviously in the NL, they look the the safest, but the Padres hold down that final wild card spot, but San Fran's right behind them. San Fran, St. Louis, even the Reds. I wouldn't count out the Reds just yet, as they are 2.5 back of San Diego, right? They all got 50 wins. Like, that race for the wild card in the NL is going to be fantastic. Quick break. Let's get to the con man. Let's see, does he remember how to do a sports update? Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Hall of Fame defenseman Paul Coffey will not be behind the Oilers bench next season. He'll return to his role as special advisor to ownership and hockey operations. The team also announced the hirings of Paul McFarland as assistant coach, Peter Aubry as goaltending coach, and Conor Allen as skills coach. Former goaltending coach Dustin Schwartz was not offered a new contract. Sad news is longtime Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Jim Clancy has passed away at the age of 69. The right-handed Clancy was a member of the inaugural Blue Jays team and went on to play 12 of his 15 seasons with the organization. Clancy is second all-time in team history in starts, innings pitched, and complete games. Third all-time in wins with 128, trailing only Dave Steve and Hall of Famer Roy Halladay. Major League Baseball festivities will get going tonight in Atlanta with a home run derby getting going at 6. Midsummer Classic goes tomorrow, also just after 6 o'clock. From the NFL, the New York Jets have locked up wide receiver Garrett Wilson, a 4-year deal worth $130 million. Wilson, who turns 25 years old next week, is at least 1,000 receiving yards in each of his first 3 seasons in the league. And Victor Wembanyama announcing he's been cleared to return after suffering from blood clots that limited him to just 46 games last season. Still just 21 years old. He led the NBA last season in block shots, despite the season ending just after the All-Star break. And in the WNBA tonight, Lynx up against Chicago. That gets going at 6. And at 8 o'clock, you've got the Mercury in San Fran taking on the Valkyries. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Eddie Steele of Elks Nation. And here Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
When you look at a pipe, we just see a pipe. But at GS Construction, we know it's not just a pipe. It's the future water flowing to a growing family's home, or the sewer line for a new school. At GS Construction, we know every trench we dig connects people to what matters. And if you'd like to be part of that vision of making a better future, we're hiring.
Magnificent
Construction is looking for
Monday
to join our team. So apply today at gsconstruction.ca. GS Construction, underground with purpose.
It's a special 11 a.m. game this Sunday as your Edmonton Riverhawks host baseball and brunch, featuring pre-game mimosas, breakfast sandwiches, and all your favorite pirate and princess characters. Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
Day or night, tasting just the right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, 6. Welcome back. Sports 1440, the Jason Gregor Show. Of course, live also, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. We appreciate you listening and watching the show, sports1440.ca. Many of you, man, our numbers just continue to grow there. So we're very excited to have you listening, watching, engaging. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You know what? The text line, there hasn't been a lot of anger on the text line today about the Oilers coaching staff. So does that mean that people are like, hey, I'm fine with it? I get it. Like there's, I'd reported a few weeks ago, Schwartz doesn't come back, then Paul Coffey, so that's not a surprise to anybody. And they really just bring in one assistant coach and Paul McFarland. He's basically going to replace Glenn Gulletson. And they have a new goalie coach. I can't see people complain. Now, we do have a few texts, and I think these are valid. Hey, Greg's, why didn't they get a goalie department? It's a great question. And I did ask Chris Knobloch that. That's more, the GM's job. My understanding, and people would say, well, why are you delaying it? Fair question. My understanding is it's something that you probably could see develop more next year. And I know someone says, what are you waiting for? I don't have the answer. I'm just the messenger right now. Don't shoot the messenger. And so that's what I think you could see happening for the Oilers, but it won't be happening this year right away. I think you will see a few differences. I think their skills coach is going to implement a few more things that happened during the season. And I think the Oilers are going to have a few more skilled, practices, not just 15 minutes guys individual before, but actual skills practice for the entire practice. Not just always, okay, we're going to focus on line rush, D rush here. They're going to have, I think, some set times. I don't know how many, but I think that's something that's going to be coming for the Oilers. And I think it's smart. Like when you think about how teams, you put in a lot of money and time into player development for young players. Well, when you think about your drafting every year, you bring to a rookie camp or whatever, you might have 5 or 6 of those players that are ever actually going to play in the NHL. And you spend a lot of time working, developing on them. How much time do you spend on developing the players who are actually in the NHL and fine-tuning their skills? Right? Because a lot of time, player development, skill development, it's about the non-NHL players, which I understand, and you definitely have to work with them. But are you telling me you couldn't improve the skills of your NHL player and maybe just sharpen them? Right? Because a lot of them, think about what do they do in the offseason? Well, they work on their skills. Right? Yeah, they train, but then they have a skills coach. Well, why wouldn't you work on some of that during the season as well? And I think you're going to see more of that with the Edmonton Oilers moving forward this season. Hey, Gregor, can we admit that Trey Ford stinks from Montana to Rice? Well, here's the interesting thing about Trey Ford. Trey Ford had a perfect quarterback rating the previous game that they won. 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions, a perfect QB rating, 158. So you can't say he sucks. Did he suck at hitting 3 deep balls yesterday? 100%. But at least he's showing stretches where he's been good. Has the defense had a game where you say, wow, really good game by the defense? Not one. They had 1 quarter, the 3rd quarter in Winnipeg. That's it. The rest of the time, they've gotten torched. And they got torched. Like, think about it. The game was what? 17-7. And BC starts a drive on their 1-yard line. Where'd that drive end up? Touchdown, 24-7. Basically game over. Like, when has the defense, other than the 3rd quarter in Winnipeg, been the the defense that was supposed to help the offense get their feet under them. You signed a lot of big name free agents on the defense. Did you sign any big name free agents on the offense? I guess you got Steve Dunbar, right? And he's been good, actually. I have no problems with Dunbar. But anyone else? Not really. Right? You brought back an offensive lineman, okay. But that's really it. So I think it's fair to say Trey Ford yesterday, not good enough. I didn't like his deep ball throws. Not at all. But the defense, have you liked any game this year from the defense? I don't think you have. And to me, that is a much bigger issue. 833-401-1440. We'll have Eddie Steele coming up. Cam Tate, 2-minute warning. We got Woodley, Speck, Paul McFarland will be by. I in the summertime, we always like to have random, topics of the day. Today's topic of the day, because I was having a conversation with a friend and I'm curious. So you're in your vehicle, which some of you are right now. You pull up to a light. You're at the intersection. How many times when you're in your vehicle do you look over to the car beside you? Not really for any reason other than to see, well, who's driving the vehicle. You look, then you look back. Nothing's ever said. There's barely a wink or a nod, whatever. But it was just because I was with my buddy, we're driving, and like at every car, he looks over, I'm like, what are you looking at? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, why do you always look over to the car? Because you just look and then you look right back. Like, why? And he goes, I don't really know. And I'm like, yeah, but you do it like every time. Not just like once where, hey, I want to see my surroundings. No, like every time we stopped, he would look over. And if he was in the right lane, he would look over to his left on if we were on a two-way lane. And if he was in the right lane, then he'd look over to his right. Or sorry, if he was in the left lane, he'd look over to his right. And I'm kind of like, because at first I was like, well, you're looking at me. But no, he was just looking over. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you do this constantly? So I'm curious, how many people, like, what are you looking at when you look over? Con man, are you a looker at the intersection? Like, do you always look to the car beside you?
I wouldn't say I'm a serial looker like your buddy, but I certainly do look. I caught myself today. I thought the guy was wearing a cutoff jacket thing. So I had to do a double take. It was just a different color sleeve on the shirt he was wearing. But yeah, and we were on a road trip and I kind of had the same thought about my wife when we pass a car. Because sometimes she'll just look over. And it's like to see like, oh, what's their demographic? Is that an old guy? Why is he going so slow? Things of that nature. But yeah, I certainly have time to time taken a look. And sometimes I like to see if the car matches the driver. Like, like you see kind of an older car and you're like, oh, that's going to be a grandma. And then it's like a kid's first car, like a 16-year-old kid, like, oh, guess I was wrong on that one. But yeah, I do time to time look around. You don't.
Not like maybe once in a blue moon, but like I couldn't believe it. Like I'm like, no, like a lot of times I just like at the light, I kind of just am like, oh, I get to relax. Just kind of whatever. Sit forward, but I don't and I definitely like I've gotten out of a habit because for a while there I felt I was in the habit where I'd look at my phone every time. So I'm like, no, now I put my phone away, put it in the glove box. I'm like, I'm not gonna reach over to it. So now it's out. Because if I want to call someone, right, you have hands free so you can call, so it's no big deal. And but the looking over, I found like, because afterwards I'm like, well, maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I should start the look. So,
I mean, what's best case scenario? Like you're a single guy, you pull up beside a girl, she smiles at you, and then you both drive off. Like there's really nothing good gonna come from it.
Yeah, maybe. Hey guys, to me, looking around is situational awareness. Don't stare, just glance. Situational awareness to what? Country, Kurt. Like I'm sitting on 50th Street. Heading eastbound. Like, I know which direction I'm going. What do you mean situational awareness? I know what street I'm on. I'm like Mo on Calvin and Hobbes. He's street smart. He knows what street he's on. Yeah. It's kind of how it is. Guys, I always take a glance. You never know. You never know what, Lance. Lance the Glancer. What don't you know? That's what I'm curious about. I need to know what you think that you never know is. Hey, Jason, my husband does that when I drive. It's embarrassing. From Melissa. See, because sometimes people look over and they're like, well, what's that person looking at me? Do I know them? Why are they staring at me? I just kind of found it interesting. I never noticed anybody as like obvious the whole time, like our whole drive cons. Like I couldn't believe it. So, yeah.
There was times where like someone cuts me off or whatever. and then I'll end up passing them. And my wife will like give them a mean look, and I'm like, "Don't do that. Don't do that." Like, what? He gets mad. He pulls over, road rages. I'm the one who's got to deal with it.
Oh.
That's another situation. But yeah, that's when I don't.
Well,
like.
the road rage, I could see sometimes like you're like, hey, what's going on? Maybe I get it. Hey guys, I stopped at a red light during the playoff run. The guy had a Flames hat on. I just pointed to my Oilers hat and smiled. He broke out laughing from Stu Lou. Oh, there you go. So now, did you look knowing he had a hat on? I'm just kind of curious. So. Hey, Gregor, I'm doing that right now from Tub Guy. Yeah, what are you looking at? That's what I want to know. What are you seeing? Or should everybody just do it now? Because I could see if you look and then, like, do you smile? Do you wave? I don't know. I'm just curious. Right? Do we start? Is there like a new trend to start? I'm just curious what to, we'll see. Hey, guys. Ask Struddy how often he looks at the driver of the car next to him. He mentioned it. He did an experiment to see how many people look back at him. Well, yeah, because that's the other thing. Some people, he's like, well, I just like to look to see if they look back. And I'm like, what? Okay, but just what? To see if you can do it? Because if you're looking straight, like, do you see out of the corner of your eye if someone's looking at you in the other car? Like, I don't think so. Like, I'm trying to see right now. Can I look at Connor Halley and see if he's looking at me? Well, I can see your blue hat. But obviously through a car, it'd be different. So I don't think so. Hey, guys, I do it for people watching. And honestly, anytime there's a female, I just want to see if she's attractive. Well, I appreciate your honesty, Steve. I appreciate it. Hey, Jason, when I was single, I did it all the time. Got 2 dates out of it from Sarah. All right. Okay, Sarah, I can respect that. How'd you get but you left out, what are you, Elaine here? You're leaving out the best part of the story. You just yada, yada. How'd you get the date? Like, did you roll your window down? They smile at you? Like, what happened? Right? Is that like before Tinder? Is that how people would meet? They just drive around. Hey, get a smile. Right. How do you get your date? You roll the window down? You got to be at a long red light to get the date out of it, don't you? Or maybe it's like multiple red lights. Right? Like you're in St. Albert who has no, like, it's just like, hey, let's stop every 50 feet because nothing's ever in sync. So maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. What?
Train, maybe?
Oh, at the train?
You have a real good conversation
then you have
there.
lots of time at the train. The train, you know what? The train, I could see. That's the one place where you're like, okay, I've been sitting here for 5 minutes. And like, I got to look around. The train, I could kind of get on board for. So
JR in Red Deer says you have to judge if you can beat them in a drag race. There are times where I have done that move. Like, because you have to get into that lane. Sometimes, you fall asleep, you forget to change into the proper lane. You're like, yeah, I can take this guy. That's something you get the benefit of a little granny. So that one I do understand.
Hey, guys, I ride a motorcycle. I do that purposely when I pull up at a red light to get next to somebody and look them in the eye, either to my left or right, depending on which lane I'm in, to make sure they're actually see me. I have a habit of doing that when I'm driving my truck as well. Rob from Sherwood Park. Okay, Rob. So I can understand on the motorbike if they see you. Okay, I get it because, they say, hey, you want people on the motorbike. I don't want to get hit. But now that you're doing it in your truck, it's become a habit. Because in the truck, you're not as worried about them. Like if I'm in a vehicle, I don't have to look over to see the vehicle. I can see out of my peripheral vision. Well, there's the front hood. I have a vehicle beside me. And well, let's be honest. I could just look in my rear view, in my mirror now on the doors because they have the little light that pops up every time there's a vehicle in that range. So, hey, Gregor, you got to look. You never know. It could pull up to a legend like you. Pat him from Tamarack. It's a pretty low bar for a legend there, buddy, but I appreciate that. What are you going to do? So do you look over? But what if the other person isn't looking? How do you get my attention? To roll the window down, honk the horn? Maybe probably just honk the horn, right? If you want to get their attention. So I was just curious. Many of you it seems like it, my buddies. Now, Gregor, I do it, but I will say I don't do it every time. Sounds like your buddy's a chronic looker. Oh, yeah. No, he's a chronic looker. There is no question. This could be a Seinfeld episode. Like he's jumped the shark. He's jumped the shark. So see where that goes from there. 3:20. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Eddie Steele. Does Eddie Steele stare at people when he's driving? Something tells me he probably does. I think Eddie's a looker. Cons, what's your guess? Does Eddie look over when he's at the red light?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Followed by a smile.
Oh, the smile. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Looks and then he smiles. Oh, look and a smile. I think it was just like, look.
I think he's in his car right now, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, now he's going to pretend he's not doing it, though. We'll find out next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Discover Days sales event has been extended at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $7,500. Final month extended. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $4,000. Save up to $7,500 on a 2025 demo XC40. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Breaking news, McDonald's international menu items are vanishing. McPizza Bites missing in Italy. Big Rusty stolen from Germany. Teriyaki chicken sandwich disappears in Japan. And a Biscoff McFlurry blackout in Belgium. Oh, this just in. We can now confirm the stolen favorites have resurfaced at McDonald's Canada. The international menu heist. Try them all while you can. For a limited time in participating McDonald's in Canada.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
And on the rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tune.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're on the rocks.
On the rocks.
Jeff Brab and 118th.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.324, welcome back. Lots of people. Hey, Garrigs, it's just people watching, man. You never know what you're going to see. Our discussion on do you look in your car at the intersection? Gregor, you know what? After you guys talked about it, I never realized it, but I just stopped the two red lights. I looked every time. Well, maybe that was subliminous getting in your head. Hey, Gregor, looking over the next car to you is like standing with one person in an elevator. Don't make eye contact. Social awkward at its best from Rich. Oh, the elevator. Like when you're on I always say hello. Like if a person's in your vicinity, I feel like I just say hello just to try to like acknowledge that it's a human being. They don't have to talk to you or not, but usually I'll just say hello. Like, hey, just like I know you're breathing, organism at this point. So it's good to go. Let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. Action's a service division, independent division in action with full-time management, estimated in a dispatch team. Technicians are fully trained and uniform. They can do exterior lighting, electrical repairs, everything else. Check it out, actionelectrical.net. As Eddie Steele, of course, from the Kevin Carey Show, also one half of Elks Nation, which has been killing it for the since it debuted here just a month ago. In fact, Eddie, how you doing?
I'm well, Greggs. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. When you're in your vehicle at a red light, do you look over?
I do sometimes. Sometimes, look, it can be awkward sometimes, right? But sometimes when you do make eye contact, you just give a little head nod, right? Give a little quick bob up and down. Keeping it real, man. And this is getting a little graphic, but we're only human. Sometimes I'm checking because I'm picking my nose or flossing. I don't want people seeing me.
Well, people want to know, like, you're one of the few guys who, like, you got to be in the top percentage of guys who wear muscle shirts on a day. Like, you must be wearing muscle shirts. Like, every time I'm seeing you on one of our pods, you're wearing a muscle shirt. Like, do you wear a muscle shirt, like, out of 7 days a week? Or if I give you an over-under of 2.5, are you over or under?
Well, I would 100% be over because I work out about 7 times a week. So every day I'm in a muscle shirt working out. But on the regular schedule, honestly, no, not a ton, to be honest. But Greg,
okay,
if you had them, wouldn't you?
Hey, why not? Hey, that's fair. Oh, it's the old adage. If you didn't have hands, would you wear gloves? No. Well, then why do you wear a muscle shirt? It's always a classic. Hey, speaking of muscles right now, what the hell is good? Let's start with the defense and we'll get to the offense. But this is 5 games, Eddie. And I really outside of the third quarter against Winnipeg, I have really not seen any progression that this defense is improving. Why? What is lacking? Why can't we see any sort of sustained pressure, 2-and-outs, short drives? Like, they're just getting crushed in the amount of yards they're giving up.
No pun intended, Greg's. This defense is undefensible, man. Like, there is no reason or rhyme I can explain as to why they are the way they are. Since week 1, it's been 330 passing yards per average they've been letting up per quarterback they face. They've been letting quarterbacks complete balls at a completion rate of 77%. They've been getting decimated in the run game. And the things that are alarming to me, Gregor, the most alarming things are their tackling. And they are unwilling to commit to tackling. There's no issue with me saying they play a soft brand of football in terms of committing to try and be physical and get guys down. And that is all heart. That's not scheme. That's not JC Sherritt getting guys in the right position. That's guys need to man up and be willing to do the hard, dirty things. And it is so clear and so evident, especially in the secondary, that they are unwilling to tackle. And quite honestly, it's pathetic to watch, man. It really is.
Yeah, well, I know I text you. I'm like, some of their tackling or lack thereof to me is just wild. Like like Williams at times, he'll go into it where, like, I remember Strutty made an analogy once, Eddie, where he's like, Martin, guys will look like they're trying to get in the lane to block a shot, but they're not getting in the lane. And I've watched some of the Elks guys, like, they go to make it look like they're making a tackle and they're not even coming close. And I'm like, what is that? So, like, they got to challenge themselves, leaders. Who's got to take over that? Because the D coordinator can't instill heart in you, can he?
Yeah, no, he can't. But this is pro football. Like, you would expect at this level that you don't need to be sharpening in terms of your tackling. With that being said, though, some of my best years, and I played on some really good defenses, what I'm witnessing out of this Double E football club, I'm not used to this. Like, this is a defensive performance week in, week out that honestly makes me sick to my stomach, because I've never been a part of something this bad this consistently. But they do need to sharpen up how they're coaching tackling, and they do need to focus on these little points. And look at how they blitz, for example. They're blitzing very, very unorganized, you could say. Guys aren't being efficient with their blitz rush lanes. There was a blitz yesterday where he ran right upfield, and because he wasn't attentive to his blitz lane, he led up a huge rush lane, and they ran right where he blitzed. You got to have a little more awareness of the game when you're playing at this level.
Yeah, well, so that's why I had you on, because some of the small details, like, I'm watching, you're just like, why all of a sudden, like I see sometimes when they blitz and it's like there's never a layered blitz, right? Like both guys go wide and then the quarterback just steps up a foot and both guys went right by him, right? Like, so you need to kind of know, okay, if I'm blitzing, I'm going at the 5-yard, drop, and this guy's going to go to 3-yard drop. So we can, we're going to give ourselves more lanes to cover, correct?
Absolutely, you're correct. And let's also talk about in-game adjustment. I hate to pin things on JC because he was a former teammate. He was a leader on my defense. But look, the reality is the reality, especially when they've shown no progression from week 1 till now. And the in-game adjustments, JC, quite honestly, is just getting out-coached and out-schemed. How many times did the RPO in week 1 with BC kill the defense? And here we go on repeat yesterday. The RPO, how many times? Fake handoff, roll out right, hit a guy who's sitting down in a hitch, or just roll it out and hit the guy on the sideline. Time in, time out. You got to be able to adjust these things. We all see this. People who know football less than me see this. You got to be able to make the adjustments.
Yeah. So where would you start? What would be, you got another bye week, which I'm not even sure that's good or bad, but another bye week here in the first 6-7 weeks of the season. So what would you be focusing on specifically on the defensive side?
To be honest, finishing plays. And it's easier said than done, but they got to finish plays, be it batting down passes, be it finishing sacks. They're getting pressure, but you got to work on finishing, or be it just tackling. And they got to do these drills. You got to take it back to grade 9 football in practice hitting dummies. Believe it or not, we did a lot of these types of bare bone drills with Chris Jones. You'd see us and it's like, what are these pro athletes doing? Tackling bags and stuff. Usually you don't do that. You're working on more scheme stuff. But we practice tackling, and that's why we were a historically good defense in 2015. The little things matter, and right now it's so evident to me. And honestly, outside of Niles Morgan and Nick Anderson, I'll call out this entire defense. And another reason I'll call out the entire defense, they're all the ones getting paid. They're all the ones they spent all the big money on in free agency, and none of them are performing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Offensively, Trey Ford, he missed, 3 open balls downfield. I think it's pretty obvious. And that, that they were killers, especially the first one. Dunbar had his guy beat by a good 3 feet. And I think if you just lead him, that's an easy touchdown, never mind an interception at the 10-yard line. The other 2, the third one, I thought Mathis maybe slowed up, but still you got to make that throw. It should be in his hands. At least we'd seen some progress. That was a step back, no question. But what do you make of the offense for the Elks? Because it seemed after that, Eddie, now they're just like, well, now we're not going to call any plays downfield. And that's where BC was susceptible. Like their guys were open. And to me, it's like, okay, he missed some passes, but we got to keep going back to that because there was obviously open all day. And then they just stopped throwing deep.
And that's a sign that, you can have some faith in offensive coordinator Jordan Maximic, because he's scheming up the right plays to get guys open. Now it's a matter of delivering that. With the offense, I'm not going to be overly hard on them. And I've been pretty positive this year on Trey and feeling good about his game overall. We've seen the progression week in and week out. That's why I'm definitely hanging it on the defense, because they've been flatlined dead since week 1. Now with Trey, he had a good game last week. He had a perfect passer rating, couple 100 yards, had really good showing. So for it to be such a high to such a low, it's almost inexplainable, to that this is the starting quarterback play that you're getting. Now, I do have a question for you, and I know Trey had a couple of botched years early with Chris Jones, no denying it. But at what point do we continue to, quote unquote, develop a quarterback and suffer losses? Like at what point do we really start to question things as a whole when it comes to the player? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair question. There's no doubt about it. And then, you look at that and say, okay, well, we'll go to Cody Fajardo and, we'll see if it would be any better. I guess you wouldn't know until you did it. But the risk is, let's say you go to Cody, and now would he have hit one of those balls? Probably. But the thing about it, Eddie, was, we had seen the progression last week. So you're thinking, hey, this, you want it to continue. So I'm guessing they'll look to say, hey, how does he rebound after the bye week? Because early in the season, missing deep throws really wasn't his problem, right? So it was just kind of like a new thing. And so maybe it's a one-off, because at least there'd been progression there. To me, I think, if I'm Mark Killam, I got to focus on the defense. You mentioned, hey, who's getting paid and who are the guys brought in? It's not like they, brought in superstar receivers, although I do like Dunbar. I think he's actually played pretty well and got open a lot and probably should have more catches than he actually has. But it is a fine line there on Trey Ford. I think they said they'd be patient with him, and he was at least showing progression. But like at some point, I wonder, they got to make a statement on their defense, because it was supposed to be the thing that was going to carry them early until their offense. And I could argue the only game they won is one on the back of the offense, not the defense.
You're absolutely right. And again, against Ottawa, yes, it was Ottawa. You look at the numbers, and the numbers matched the average that the defense had been giving up all season. So it's like they've not had any showing that has been inspiring on defense all year. That would be the main reason I point the finger at the defense. And it's not like JC and Aaron Grimes. It's not like these guys don't know what the standard is. We've been a part of the standard. But right now, it's fair to say, like, guys, this is very questionable what you're rolling out there week in and week out.
Eddie Steele Jones, how much do you take into the fact of, you got a rookie head coach, you got a rookie DC, you got a rookie secondary coach. We talk about patience with the quarterback. Do you have to have patience with all of those guys as well?
Yeah, you do have to have patience, but part of the reason that I am concerned is, again, the in-game adjustments. We're just not seeing them, right? Like, it's been many games now where we're seeing them compete in games, but then at halftime, it seems like they're coming out and they're kind of running the same schemes. And it's the little things that I'm seeing that the players are doing, that, like I mentioned, that blitz scenario where it's just the little details. These things need to be sharpened up. And it is concerning because we have not seen any steps forward, like at all, Jason. They've been flatlined the whole season, dead last by a large margin in every main category, every single one, dead last. So it's not like they've even showed glimpse of, they have a good pass defense. They can stop the run a little bit. They've been getting annihilated in every phase of the game defensively.
And one last one for you, Eddie. Jake Ceresna said in his interview at the half of how, my knee popped out. They popped it back in. I went back in. Then he had the interception and everything. But then he got hurt later on, same knee. Is that unlucky, or do they have to look and say, hey, wait, maybe we shouldn't be putting a guy back in a game who pops his knee out?
Yeah, you have to look at it. When I'm not a doctor, but I've had enough knee surgeries and knee injuries to kind of understand how they work a little bit. And what I would guess is it's probably something meniscus if he had a knee injury and it popped and he was able to get it back in, because I've done that twice, similar things. And then the second time it went, it probably just clicked out, and they probably said, it's not worth it. Let's tap out. Let's go check this thing out. You got a bye week. Let's start resting it now and then diagnose it and see what we got.
Oh, okay. So popping out a knee isn't that crazy in football. It's happened fairly.
It's happened for sure. And if you're popping it out and playing again, it certainly doesn't lead me to believe you tore your ACL or anything, because you wouldn't be able to do that if you tore your ACL.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Eddie, great stuff, buddy. Enjoy it. Have a good workout or post-workout shake, whichever one comes first.
Post-workout, baby. Just finished up, Gregor. Get yours in tonight, my man.
All right. Yeah, I will. There you go. There's Eddie Steele. Of course, you're here Monday, Friday on Sports 1440. And he and Declan Kruger, the two main guys at Elks Nation. You can follow them anywhere where you get podcasts. Also, check out their YouTube channel for Elks Nation. And the site launch is getting closer. So that'll be fantastic. Basically, an Oilers Nation, but for football at Elks Nation. Should be great. Quick break. We'll come back. We got Cam Tate joining us. Lots and lots of texts. I love it. Hey, people are passionate about football. That's great. And it's okay to be frustrated with the Elks. You should be. They were now you can lose a game. You can easily lose a game, but the way they lost that game, like that was just an old-fashioned ass kicking. They couldn't stop anything. Their offense couldn't hit anything. Not a good combination. Not at all. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical, lighting, and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New Crust Alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new Cheddar Crust Pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping Cheddar Crust Pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
So you're dying from the heat, wet dripping on your sheets. You want to cool it down, but your AC can't compete. So you fall upon your knees and cry out, oh please, I need a cooling breeze. Send me Legacy's AC Repairman. Legacy's AC Repairman. AC Repairman. Can't spell Legacy without AC. Legacy Heating and Cooling's got a guy who's really good at fixing broken ACs. So if you got one, call Legacy. Okay, see you later. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience, but it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-471-7380 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The Hoop City 3x3 Festival takes over the Ice Palace at West Edmonton Mall from July 31st to August 3rd. See professionals and Olympians battle for ranking points and cash prizes in 3 different FIBA 3x3 events. Free admission. Details at sports1440.ca.
If you're looking for the ultimate off-road adventure, you'll find it in a Jeep Wrangler. And if you're looking for the ultimate financing deal on a Wrangler, you'll find it at St. Albert Dodge. Right now, St. Albert Dodge is offering 0% financing for up to 72 months OAC on their full selection of 2025 Jeep Wranglers. And it's a great selection. Sport, Willys, Sahara, and Rubicon, plus all the new colors, all on the lot ready to go at 0%. Come see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Ready for a career that's literally golden? B2 Gold just poured their first gold bar at the new mine in Nunavut, and you can be part of the foundation. They have 25 open roles for experienced mill operators on a fly-in, fly-out, 3-week on, 3-week off rotation. Start with a base salary of $110,000 to $130,000 with all travel and benefits paid. These roles need to be filled now. Come to the Terrace Office Tower on July 17th and 18th. Email Edmonton Job Fair at b2gold.com to book an appointment. Bring your resume, references, and safety tickets.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd, get the triple plate. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
Tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.344. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you enjoy the show. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Now, see, this guy, he has a legit reason for the look over. Hey, guys, 35-year police officer. Training experience forced me to look into all vehicles all the time when driving. Now, see, that I get. Like, it's kind of part of your job. It just becomes part of who you are. You're checking things out, some shady character. You pull up on Connor Halley, like, God, what's that guy eating again? So I get it, right? You're going to have different things in different vehicles. Like that has a legitimate reason for it to do it. So I like it. We'll see. Now let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. As Cam Tate, of course, Cam has a cerebral palsy, born with it, has been in wheelchairs his whole life, but due to his disability, always wanted to be on radio. Couldn't until now. Through the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Quiet. Let's not wake the baby. The Edmonton Elks, they're not very good. We knew only too well it is going to take President and CEO Chris Morris and Ed Hervey a while to deal this massive mess. Hey, Gregor, there's a new one. Just for you, an M. Massive mess left by former Elks GM and coach. What's his name? Oh, yeah. Chris Jones, the M&M maker. Chris Jones. He's done for football in Edmonton what Cam Tate has done for jogging. Jones, he ain't going up on the Elks wall of honor of the east side of Commonwealth Stadium. You kidding me? Elks got beat Sunday. Score doesn't matter. It doesn't. 1-4 on the season. Baby duck all around. Now you, Gregor, and you, Declan Kruger, have analyzed the loss to this BC Lions very well. And here's my question. And low tide, for your UA from your post-show nap, pay attention. Because we are, yet again, in Edmonton, how many patients does a fan base have? We asked that about the Oilers. Now it's the Elks time. And how long is owner Larry Thompson prepared to keep cutting the checks when fans aren't showing up? I was at the Vemheim with my old buddy Mike. Mike is a retired sports television cameraman with CFRN and the CBC. He estimated 4,000 people in the East Stands. Now professional sports team can survive with that. But I know one thing. If there was ever a pair of men to turn this massive mess around, it's Morris and Hervey. But that raises another question. Will their patience run out before the fans? Big burp, 2-minute warning. Tate, Gregor, Halley, Monday, Wednesday, Sports 1440.
It's a good line. He's done Edmonton football what Tater has done for running. It's a good line, Tate. We'll give you credit for that. I would say on the owner, like he's only been the owner for not even a full year. He'll be patient, right? It's the old adage. I think they're trying to have the build it and they will come philosophy, and I do think there's some truth to that. You know what? I think the final tally. And I was at the game, and it is true that the East has fewer fans. 4,000 is too low. Because there was 19,000. The other side didn't have 15 because that mean it would be jam-packed. So there's 19,000. And that's kind of what it looked like to me. Just over half full because I think capacity in the lower bowl is like 32,000 and change. So I think the 19,000 was fairly reflective of the crowd. And you know what? People come, nice day out. That helps. I think the win the previous week had helped, but that's a step back, no question. The Elks, when they return, they got the bye week and then they'll come back. And I think they're in Saskatchewan, which obviously is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination for the Elks. It's a Friday night game. So, Friday night football, the only game on the sked that night on the 25th of July. And it'll be a huge game for the Elks. And then after that, they got Hamilton at home and Bo Levi Mitchell, man, they're torching teams right now, throwing the ball everywhere. So, you know what? There's no easy games when you're the bottom team in the CFL. Obviously, it's Toronto and Ottawa are there with you, but the Elks are the patience of the owner. I would think they probably had a plan, knowing that hey, you know what? There's a certain number I know they have that where they get to where at bare minimum you're breaking even on everything, and then you can make some money after that. So I think they'd like to get to that. The only way you're going to get there, though, is they got to win some games, right? You've got to be entertaining, and that's why honestly I thought. The crowd was up 3,000 or 4,000 from the previous Sunday. And winds help. Also, no rain helps, no question. But it will be interesting to see how, because it's easy to have a plan and everybody on the same page when you win some games. You start losing all the time, Connor. It becomes much harder to stay. How do I say it? In a jovial mood where everybody's excited.
Yeah, it's fun to come to work when you're having success, right? I mean, we've heard that many times. Guys coming in, you're in a good mood. This is a professional sports franchise. I mean, if they're not winning football games, changes are going to happen. And there's going to be some patience, like you said, with a lot of the players. But if you're one of those fringe guys, there probably shouldn't be much hesitation to make a move and try to bring someone in who might be a little bit hungry, might offer a little bit more. Maybe someone's on the practice roster chomping at the bit, just waiting to get their opportunities. So the more they lose, I'm sure the more the tensions will rise in the building and in the dressing room, and things might have to change. But it's going to be tough. The bye week, it's crazy. It feels like a really quick that they've already had 2 byes. But then going into Saskatchewan, that's going to be a tough place to play against a good football team. The solution's going to come from inside the room. That's the only way it's going to be. They don't have anyone you can really, look at saying, hey, well, we've got him we can rely on, or someone coming back from injury. They're going to have to find a way to get the job done with the guys they got. And I kind of agree with what Eddie said. The coaching staff, they got to find some in-game adjustments. If something's not working, don't just continue to do so. Adjust, adapt, make solutions, and find things that work. And so far, they just haven't done it this year.
No, I think it's very, very fair. Like any run play option, it seems like the defense just doesn't have an answer to it. Like they don't know what they're doing, and that has been consistent all year long. So if I'm an opposing team, what am I running all day long? That's what I'm going to run. Like most quarterbacks can do an RPO. They like it. You roll out of the pocket. Even if you don't even have to roll that far. And all of a sudden, because I watched multiple times, Rourke, the defensive end, would cut down on Rourke every time he would fall for the handoff. And then Rourke just rolls outside untouched, hits a guy down. And so it's twofold. Because A, the D-line isn't containing. And then B, the secondary guys are playing so far off the ball, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Like watch how many easy completions they have.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. The other teams around the league have the film, right? So Edmonton can't stop the RPO. Let's attack them with it. And until you show that you can stop it, teams are going to keep doing it. So, I mean, that's got to be something that they have to look at. JC shared and the defensive line, linebackers as well can get involved in that to try to slow it down. There's a lot of things you can do differently. And one of the things, Gregor, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. I watched Trey Ford, and some of the plays to me, it seems like he's either throwing it a little bit late or just hanging on to the ball a little bit too long. I'd like to see him trust his gut. Like when he sees it, make that read. You think it's going to open up? Get rid of the ball. Like the underthrown deep balls or something. We know he's got the arm strength. I've seen him overthrow enough guys to know that he can get the ball down there. But just less hesitation in the pocket. Trust your read, make the throw, and trust your receiver to go run the proper route and get the job done. That's something I'd like to see from Ford as well. I can't put it all on the defense. I think that game was a little bit tough for the offense as well. But, trust your abilities, trust what got you there, and make the throw.
Quick break. When we actually coming up, I guess got a few more texts, and then we'll get to the break. Hey guys, I'm not surprised Edmonton's the mess. They've been so bad, bottom so long. You don't fix that overnight. It could take them a decade or more to recover. From Doug. Well, it usually doesn't take you that long in the CFL, Doug, but you're right about usually a year. I think that's valid. Like I didn't expect the Elks to suddenly vault to the top of the Western Conference this year. I said if they could somehow find a way to compete for a playoff spot, that'd be a massive win. Right? That's true. That'd be a massive win. Like 500 to me would have been a successful season for Edmonton. Like that would have actually probably above successful, to be honest. So I don't know. It would be great if you could ever get to 100% honesty. Okay, what did you think your team was going to be this year? How good? Like I do know this. They believed that their defense could be the strength of their team early on in the season, and that hasn't even come close to true. Like I said, outside of that third quarter in Winnipeg, when have they consistently shut down the opposition? Hasn't happened. And that's the big one. And so Drake Serezna, you know what? We'll find out what the issue is. Is it where maybe it's just a meniscus, as Eddie's suggesting? So that would be shorter term. But if he's out long-term, that obviously just makes a defensive front even weaker. So not good. That's kind of the old adage, when it rains, it pours. So, but the defense, no question for me, because the offense at least has shown you strides. Like the game they won, you got a perfect rating from your quarterback, 2 touchdown passes, right? You had a few big plays. Like how about the fact that the Elks going into yesterday led the CFL in big plays? They had 16 of them. Like that's pretty good. But there was none yesterday, so that was obviously hugely disappointing. And the return game was okay, wasn't bad, but didn't spark them at all. Like they got lucky on the one cover. It was an obvious hole, but still, the BC guy ends up taking it to the house. Gets called back right away. It's a legal block. But the Elks, outside their kicking game, there wasn't much to be excited about. And now they'll just have to. Well, the good news is it's going to be hard to be worse than that. That's the good news for the Elks. Take a quick break. We got Kevin Woodley coming up. We're going to hear from Chris Knobloch and more. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Here's the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by 01 Hockeyology. This summer, elevate your game with 01 Hockeyology. Weekly themes, real ice drills, personalized plans to help every player push forward. And an unbelievable cost. You get a membership for $300. You get up to 18 on ice or off ice, because they have both sessions, from shooting to skills. How about hockey IQ sessions? Learn to think the game and more at 01. That's ZERONE.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Hall of Fame defenseman Paul Coffey will not be behind the Edmonton Oilers bench next season, returning to his role as special advisor to ownership and hockey ops. The team also announcing the hiring of Paul McFarland as an assistant coach. He'll join us at 5:20. Peter Aubry is the goaltending coach, and Conor Allen as a skills coach. Former Oilers goaltending coach Dustin Schwartz was not offered a new contract. Sad news is longtime Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Jim Clancy has passed away at the age of 69. The right-handed Clancy was a member of the inaugural Blue Jays team and went on to play the first 12 seasons of his 15-year career with the club. He is second all-time in the team's history in starts, innings pitched, and complete games. Third all-time in wins behind Steve and Roy Halladay. MLB festivities get going tonight with the Home Run Derby in Atlanta. That gets going at 6, and the game goes tomorrow night just after 6 in Atlanta as well. From the NFL, New York Jets locking up wideout Garrett Wilson. It's a 4-year deal worth $130 million. Wilson, who turns 25 next week, has had at least 1,000 receiving yards in each of his first 3 NFL seasons. And Victor Wembanyama announced that he's been cleared to return after suffering from blood clots that limited him to just 46 games last season. In the WNBA, Chicago hosting the Lynx at 6, and at 8, the Mercury in San Fran taking on the Valkyries. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The Discover Days sales event has been extended at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $7,500. Final month extended. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $4,000. Save up to $7,500 on a 2025 demo XC40. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take 1 for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's gonna love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hoop, there it is. 4 days of basketball at its best. Hoop City 2025, North America's largest FIBA 3x3 showcase. The top 4 Olympic teams on both men's and women's categories, featuring Canada's women's Olympic team, with Edmonton's own Michelle and Catherine Blue. More than just hoops. There's entertainment, long-distance shootout, Grand Slam showcase, plus interactive games and prizes for everyone. Hoop City 3x3 Basketball Festival, July 31st to August 3rd. Ice Palace and West Edmonton Mall. Admission is free, so bring the whole family.
Hey, Canada. Set a reminder and get ready for Tim Hortons Camp Day on Wednesday, July 16th. Buy a coffee, a Camp Day bracelet, or donate on the Tim's app to help build a better future for Canadian youth at participating restaurants in Canada.
The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Hey everybody, it's Team Principe, the Prince of Puns, and I've got something that definitely will float your boat. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from LA and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters and have some drinks with umbrellas in them, you could attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Jason Strudwick, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, and more. Don't miss out on every hockey fan's dream cruise, the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. It's going to be one haul of a trip. Prices start at just $23.99, and part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton or call 1-833-347-7678. Call and save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. Cast Tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, of course, running things Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50 and you'll get a free $50 play when you sign up. Also, if you make a $20 deposit, use the promo code SUMMER100 and you get a $100 casino play right now. PlayAlberta.ca. I love this text from Northside Lou. I'm not going to lie. I've watched my last Elks game. No more time investment for me. I'm out. Lou, good luck. I don't believe you. Sports fans, you have thick skin. You won't watch this weekend for sure. Maybe not the next weekend, but you'll be back. It's extremely rare to just give up on the team. I get why the frustration's there. I hope you do it, but lots of people, how many people have said they're going to quit smoking for the first time? Took more than one. So Lou, if that's the first time you said you're quitting, I don't think it'll be that easy. You'll find yourself just sliding back in here at different things. So, hey, Gregor, did Hervey give Killen full discretion the coaching hires? JC looks to be over his head. Maybe they need to get him some help from KGen. No, my understanding is that now it wasn't like complete 100% carte blanche. If there was somebody that that he would have been totally opposed to, then he would have voiced it. But my understanding is that did not happen in this situation. There is, hey, you know what? You're right. Coaching's hard, and it's going to be a learning curve. Problem is they've got a lot of people learning at the same time, and so that's not great. So there will be, you know what? The bye week probably for the players, not so much for the coach. They're going to be looking to say, okay, what can we do better? Because they got to be better. And Eddie's a defensive guy. So, he's talked about it. He says, hey, man, like we've at least seen some progress from the offense. There has not been a whole bunch of progress for the defense at this point. Now, let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. Stop in as the Discovery Day sales event continues on. It's the final month. You can lease an XC90 plug-in hybrid starting at 1.49% and save an additional $7,500. It's pretty good. Check it out at volvocarsedmonton.com. And Chris Knobloch just gives you his thoughts on the hiring and the whole process, working his way through to come up. If you missed it earlier today, the Edmonton Oilers have announced new coaches. Paul McFarland, who's going to join us in about an hour and 15 minutes, is new offensive assistant. He'll run the power play. Peter Aubry is the new goaltending coach, and Conor Allen is the skills coach. Paul Coffey not returning. Mark Stewart will run the defense and the penalty kill. And Noah Siegel, of course, he's back as the video guy who's been very good in that role. And so here's Knobloch just talking about the whole process and the guys he ultimately decided to hire. This was his 100% coaching hiring staff.
Yeah, it was obviously a busy end of the year. We, play right to the Stanley Cup final, Game 6, and then you get into the NHL draft, preparing for that, and then the free agency, and then we tackled on the coaches. And obviously, weren't sure on how many coaches changes we were going to make or had to make. And obviously, the hire of Glenn Gallitson going to Dallas changed that a little bit. And there was that process. We wanted to wait till the process was done so we knew exactly what we were going to need and fill out our coaching staff, because I think everybody brings a little bit of different elements, and you don't want to have all the same guys, and you need so much energy and analytical thinkers or whatever it is. And I think if we were able to just sit back, wait a little bit while, and then after Glenn was hired, I guess we really moved on with that process on interviewing for all those spots.
And yeah, so obviously, part of it was Glenn Gallitson, and that makes sense. I know that Glenn, I spoke to Glenn actually right after he had his interview in Dallas, and he was, if he got the job, obviously he was going to Dallas. If not, he was coming back to Edmonton. Him and Chris got along very well, but he got the head coaching job in Dallas, and away they went. I did ask him about a goalie department and his thoughts on that.
There's been some talk. I guess it's in the development stages of that, but I think that's more of a question for Stan to answer. But right now is just filling that position, our goaltender coach for the Edmonton Oilers right now, and then branching out and seeing how that would look moving forward.
And the balance of giving the young players opportunity and then knowing that they're ready for it, because obviously you got Ike Howard coming in, you got Matt Savoy coming in. Now, this guy's not a young player, but he's a young player in NHL standards, and in Thomas Sek, and so gave his thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, as a coach, I think the most difficult part of our job is giving players opportunities to play, but also being able to hold them accountable to their play. And there's a fine line on, allowing them to make mistakes, but, how many mistakes you allow them to make to able to develop into the player that they can be, but also knowing that you're holding, 20 other players accountable for their play. So it's a very fine line. We're getting, expected to have two young players in our lineup. And, for players like that to be in the lineup, having a significant role, whether that's on special teams or the power play, the penalty kill. Savoy, one thing that very optimistic about is his penalty kill and how good he was in Bakersfield in that role. And, he didn't have any penalty kill time when he played with us, but certainly we saw him being a reliable two-way player at 5-on-5. And, I think that's an opportunity for Savoy is getting a role, especially on the penalty kill. Not that he can't be on the power play, but I definitely see him being having a big part of our penalty kill. Howard is obviously a very offensively gifted player, and probably trying to find him some kind of role with the in the power play. Now, obviously, the first unit power play has been worked so well together for a long period of time, and probably getting his start somewhere in the second unit power play, and building from there. But I think it's important that those guys have some kind of role on the special teams.
That's key. And, for young Matt Savoy, you hear a coach raving about your two-way play, that's just going to get you lots of opportunities, right? Like that will give you an opportunity to say, hey, not only can you play there, but that means you could play in the top six as well, because you're reliable defensively. That would be massive for Matt Savoy. And I think that's actually going to help him quite a bit. And just, Curtis Lazard mentioned, hey, you know what, coach, I want to tell the coach I can play center, I can play wing. He's got a lot of guys, Frederick, Henrik, Nugent Hopkins, Thomasek, down the list, Draisaitl, guys, McDavid, of course, who can play center, but also wing. And so with all the guys and their abilities to play different positions, does he see a lot of, the first half of the year just experimenting with different combinations to see which ones work?
Conversation I had with Lazar was that he very comfortable playing any position, and he felt some of his best hockey was playing left wing. It is nice to have to know that we've got a right-handed centerman for those D-zone face-offs, whether it's on the penalty kill or 5-on-5, and him bringing that element. So that's nice for a coach to have, knowing that he's on the bench and he can come out and do that. Another thing is he can be part of the penalty kill. That could be a big part of his role. Whether, we develop, there's so many unknowns on what our team's going to look like. And, if you're developing is he just a utility guy where he's face off, some penalty kill, and he's playing 6 to 10 minutes a night, or maybe even a little bit more, where maybe he's on a third line and he's part of a shutdown line where he's either the centerman or a winger on that line. I see him going into the year right now. I feel comfortable that he's kind of filling out one of those two roles.
Yeah. And I look at, I'll be very interested to see, how much of an opportunity, well, not opportunity is the wrong word. How can you handle the opportunity? That's the better way to say it, because I think, Savoy and Howard are both going to get looks there. And if the coach already was like, hey man, I really like this guy's defensive game, that probably might, give Matt Savoy a longer leash in the top six, because if he doesn't score right away, he's like, yeah, but I like him defensively. Look at Pod Colson last year. Pod Colson was very reliable defensively. They didn't get scored on. Right. But they didn't score much, but it didn't matter, because their line, while Pod Colson himself didn't score, his line was outscoring, and that's what they'll want. So I think that could help Savoy quite a bit. I also think there's fewer righties than lefties. So that's key. Now, the one guy, and here's the biggest wild card, David Thomasek. I don't know a lot about him. You don't know a lot about him. I asked the head coach, what does he expect from David Thomasek?
That's a great question. And, here's a player that I've only, of all the players, I'm probably most unfamiliar with him or Howard, just because they haven't been in the NHL. They haven't been with our organization for very long. And, I've watched a little bit of the video on him, but, finding what his role is. And, there's so many unknowns on, one thing I do like about our team this year is we've got a lot of options to play at center. I think having players that have some, fluidity to their game, whether they're playing left wing, right wing, center. But I think it's important to have more centers because it's easier to get a centerman to play the wing than it is to get a winger to play the center. So here's a guy, Tomasek, who, I feel it could be a right winger or a centerman. Where exactly in the lineup, I'm not sure. Maybe up, obviously in Europe, he was having a lot of success in a top six role, providing a lot of offense. Now, can that translate to the NHL? Time will tell. But, I think early in the season, especially in exhibition, giving him a lot of opportunities to find his game and finding out where he best fits in our team. Because we have a lot of unknowns. The centerman, does Nugent Hopkins play center? Is he a left winger? Adam Henrique, very similar situation. Trent Frederick, is he a centerman or is he a right winger? There's a lot of unknowns, and I guess we got to find out what's best for our whole team.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I think they'll have different looks from different guys. And if you want to read at OilersNation.com today, my article about it, because I think it's important to look at expectations for the young players. And, because I've seen, hey, how many goals are going to score? Oh, Howard's going to score 30. Well, that would be great. But keep in mind, how many Oiler forward rookies, right? How many rookies have scored 50 points in Oilers history? 5. Anderson, Curry, Lumley did it in the 80s. Jason Arnott did it in 94. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins did it. So one rookie forward in the salary cap era has had 50 points. Now, you've had a few more with 40. Obviously, Taylor Hall, Jordan Eberle did it, which is great. And I'm just talking, look at guys to even have 30 even strength points. Just 30. Right? There's only been 3 guys have more than 37. And that was Arnott, Lumley, and Curry. So you look at, Taylor Hall had 31, Eberle had 30. Nugent Hopkins didn't even have 30 even strength points because he had 23 on the power play. Now, I don't think Howard or Savoy are going to get that many power play points. Right? In the salary cap era, only 14 rookies have ever scored 30 goals. And only 5 have done it in the last decade. And that's Austin Matthews and Line in 2017, Connor in 18, not McDavid, but Kyle Connor. Dominic Kubalik had 30 in 2020, and Panarin had 30 in 2016. All right, Michkov and Celebrini did have 25 goals last year, but each of them had 8 power play goals. Right? Do you think Howard and Savoy are going to get that? It's hard to score a lot of goals if you're not getting power play time. That's just a harsh reality. So, the Oilers, and trust me, they would love someone to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I just think you might be setting yourself up for failure if you think that the rookies are going to be the guys that are going to score 25 goals. I hope they do, but it would be a massive achievement. I wouldn't put that as the expectation. To me, that's overachieving, and that's great. But I wouldn't put it as an expectation because it's hard to do. Right? Like how many Oilers last year even had double-digit goals 5-on-5? Do you know how many forwards? Right? McDavid, Draisaitl, of course. Hyman, Skinner, Perry, Arvidsson, Connor Brown. 7. That's it. Connor Brown had 10. Arvidsson had 11. Perry had 13. Jeff Skinner had 14. So all 4 of those guys are gone. So you look at that. You want to replace Skinner, Perry, Arvidsson, and Brown. Well, you're looking at a guy who, if somebody gets 14 goals, there you go. That's a benefit. That replaces Skinner. 13 Perry, 11 Arvidsson, 10 Brown. Can Mangiapane, Savoy, Howard, Tomasek, can they do that? Yeah, probably. Because that's not a crazy number. But that's I think maybe more real. Now, hopefully, one of those guys, Mangiapane's a veteran. Maybe he can get up to 15, right? He's not going to get a lot of power play time. He's going to be on the second unit. And I do think the second unit power play will get a little bit more time this year than we've seen in previous years. But I'm always big on looking at what's realistic. Because it's like Connor Bedard. And I love using that example because, Bedard, he's the next McDavid. What are we doing? And I argued it the minute. And now he's played 2 years in the league. And he's got back-to-back 60-point season, which there's nothing wrong with on a bad team. And people are now like, she's not that good. And you're like, well, no. It's more so that you put on these unrealistic expectations, and then he didn't meet them. And so now he's bad. I would argue the initial assessment was the problem, not him being the problem. But that's just me. 420, Kevin Woodley will join us next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Canada's biggest appliance sale is at The Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezers start at just $199. Barbecues start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below cost scratch and dent items. In-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
You have a choice, and it's a hard one. GMC employee pricing or 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick. A hard choice, but also super awesome. Get GMC employee pricing on our Sierra lineup, from the Sierra half-ton to the heavy duties. If you have cash, get discounts over $12,000 on many of our Sierras, along with GMC pricing. Or choose 0% financing on our Sierra half-ton lineup. And what a great selection of GMC terrains and fabulous Buick SUVs to pick from. So many choices. But one thing's for sure, you are getting the best deal at Wolf GMC Buick.
B2 Gold needs mill operators for their new Nunavut mine. Earn $110,000 to $130,000 with a fly-in, fly-out rotation and paid benefits. Get in on the ground floor of a brand new operation. Visit the B2 Gold Job Fair, July 17th and 18th at the Terrace Office Tower in Edmonton.
Nearly 1 in 4 Canadians are living with diabetes or pre-diabetes. It can lead to kidney disease, eye disease, heart and stroke, anxiety, and other debilitating conditions. In type 1 and the more common type 2 diabetes, diet and lifestyle are major factors in managing it. Cutting out highly processed and sugary foods and getting plenty of exercise greatly reduce your risk. Don't let food be the end of you. Talk to your doctor about diabetes and find out more today at diabetes.ca.
B2 Gold needs mill operators for their new Nunavut mine. Earn $110,000 to $130,000 with a fly-in, fly-out rotation and paid benefits. Get in on the ground floor of a brand new operation. Visit the B2 Gold Job Fair, July 17th and 18th at the Terrace Office Tower in Edmonton.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Through a lovely Monday, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely day. Some of you getting fired up for the home run derby. It's got a fun skill. I like it. It's good. I like the new format that they changed last year, so looking forward to it. let's get to our big guest, because I know you're going to look forward to our next guest, because we're talking goaltending, which is a big topic in Edmonton all the time. It never becomes a slow topic, especially when you can learn stuff, which we do from our next guest. Our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Hockey Super League, a premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development, offering borderless hockey, including provincial and cross-province competition. Check out hockeysuperleague.ca for more information. Is Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Joins us. Woodley, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, Jason. I'm good. Yeah, no, I was listening to that physiotherapy ad leading into here, and I was thinking I could use a little bit of that. Just got off the ice a little earlier, and I'm feeling all 52 years. This is, these kids come back in the summer and skate with the old guys. It gets a little tough out there sometimes. I can't keep up with these guys.
Yeah, I bet you. Pete Aubry. I know. What can you tell us about Pete Aubry, and what's he going to bring to the Oilers as the new goalie coach? First goalie coach here since November of 2014, so it's been a while.
Well, I'll be honest, Jason. I'd heard a lot of good things when he was in Chicago and sort of was considered to be the goalie coach in waiting. Obviously, that never happened. He's in their American Hockey League system, and that's where the ties are to Stan Bowman. I didn't get a lot of specifics. I think we've had a chance to chat a couple times in the past. I just kept hearing about, his openness and his approach, but I don't have like details on exactly what, preferences he has, if he has any, or if he's a guy that adjusts everything to the goaltender he works with. I think to a certain degree everybody does, but sometimes you have systems that you want to implement, like, Ian Clark in Vancouver has a very specific way that he does things in and out of the post. And I don't have a feel to that degree. So what I did was I reached out to other people who would have a little bit of a better idea. And while it didn't get technical, I can give you one, and I didn't ask for permission to use the name, so I won't use it. But this is an established NHL goaltender who went through when Peter Aubry was with Rockford, and so part of the American Hockey League system at that time. And I'll just give you the quote. Pete is a genuinely good person and a good father figure for younger guys. Good emotional and empathy skills, understanding the mental side of the game. Don't discount the importance of that. Mm-hmm. A curious goalie mind who is always looking up other goalies and finding ways to educate himself. All in all, a great coach and a wonderful person. So that doesn't get into the technical side of the thing, but it does sort of give you a hint at that growth mindset. We've talked about Stuart Skinner, right, in terms of that growth mindset and always looking for new ways to sort of improve. And that can be difficult once you get in an NHL job because you often lose the ability to talk to other coaches and things like that. And I know Dustin Schwartz, for example, worked with coaches at various levels in sort of a mentorship campaign, as some guys do, to try and, keep those lines of communication open. So you're always learning from the guys you're actually there to mentor. So Peter Aubry is, by all accounts, a curious goalie mind. And I think that's a good thing in a position that changes so often. And listen, I gave the example of Dustin and how he went about sort of making sure he was always accessing new information. Make no mistake, this isn't the case with everyone. Like, people can get a little closed off, and especially if your team puts you in a bubble, and there are some in the league that doesn't allow you to talk, doesn't allow you to go to conferences and symposiums and things like that. You can get a little stuck in your ways, and Peter Aubry, by all accounts, isn't that guy.
Okay. So then let's look at what you do know in Stuart Skinner. So if you're Peter Aubry, we've seen a lot of Skinner, and there are certain things like he's got a narrow stance. That's never changing, right? So let's get away some things that just can't change, not physically going to change it. But what are some things that you think Aubry might look to tweak on Stu Skinner?
The challenge here is going to be that for the second straight summer, he doesn't have a summer, right? And so there's only so much you can do. If I'm Peter Aubry, I'm probably going to Kelowna this summer. I am probably getting a good look at what Stuart Skinner's doing, and I think he'll be spending close to a month with Adam Francilia there in terms of the training. I'm trying to get a handle on what are some of the things that Stuart Skinner is trying to bring into his game and make sure that everybody's on the same page in terms of supporting that. We talked about depth management. We talked about how Dustin Wolf at barely 6 feet plays a more conservative positional game than Stuart Skinner does at times. Again, though, I thought I saw steps taken in that regard last year under Schwartz, but I would make sure that listen, you can't have those limitations laterally and play outside your post east-west. And so understanding that concept of depth, something that I know would have come into this conversation through Mackenzie Skapski if he was part of the process, the goalies that are at the top of the league understand that depth isn't north-south relative to the top of the crease. It's east-west too, because that's where the play is moving so much. And so making sure we have a better sort of feel and understanding and those principles and staples in our game on a consistent basis. I'm watching, I think from a read standpoint, you can keep working through video with him to make sure that those reads continue to get better and better at the NHL level. And then I'm just, trying to get a feel. Like I know Stuart's worked with an osteopath we know named James Wenlin on proprioception and some of the connecting the body and balance. I just want to make sure I get a handle on everything that he's doing in his game, making sure you see if there are positives there to you, if there are things you need to tweak, and then making sure you're understanding it. Because if these are the voices he works with in the off season, they are people that can help you. If you see changes you need to implement when they're on the ice, there are people you need to be, let's say, tied to, but you need to understand what they're trying to do so that everybody can get on the same page. And that may mean, if you disagree with some of it, sort of not usurping, but having those conversations about how you're going to do things, what fits in your mind and what doesn't. We talk a lot about counter rotation in goaltending. And counter rotation is when the upper body goes the opposite direction. We need to go with the lower body in order to load up. And inevitably with the narrow butterfly, there's going to be a little bit of that swaying back and forth because you have to go gather that leg. It's not naturally out wide. But I do think when I look at when he loses net, when he loses position, when he chases, that back and forth swinging, it's just more than needs to be there. I think there are things that you can support and do to try and limit that. And again, I say this not as somebody who pretends to know better than what's gone on in the past, because those are all things that Dustin Schwartz would be very well versed in and very good. I know that was part of their conversations in the early going. So understanding it and being able to teach it and get buy-in and have everybody on the same page are often two different things. But those are some of the areas when I look at his game, I think you can, listen, you're looking at the 1 or 2%, right? Like little bits here and there, little bits of gains. You're not reinventing the wheel. And those are some of the areas from the outside when I watch, I think you can find them still with Stuart Skinner.
So when you look at, and you say, hey, he's got some limitations laterally. Well, every goalie has certain limitations in some parts of their game, and right? Every skater does as well. So the lateral game, because I know you've talked about this before, if you take too much space, then that just opens up. You got to go farther to get across, right? If you come out now, you got to go farther across. So if you're limited there, now playing less aggressive, Kev, I want to kind of dig down on that. And where is it just off of the rush? You'd like him to play a little bit deeper? Are there other areas where you would like to see a little bit less aggression in Skinner's game?
Well, it's a good question. Certainly I thought early in the season off the rush he was getting, there were times where once the pass got made, he just didn't have a chance, right? And, I always make this, we hear the line, oh, goalie didn't have a chance, and quite often I look at it and I'm like, did he give himself a chance? And there were too many times, in my opinion, that he didn't give himself the best chance, given those limitations. Now, listen, there may be system things in there. Like maybe all his job is to square up on that shooter, and the defenseman, all his job is to prevent that pass. And so you're trusting them to do it, and they weren't doing it, right? But I do think you have to give yourself a chance off the rush. In zone, I didn't find he was overly aggressive. I just think sometimes maybe a little more conservative positioning can set you up to beat more plays on your feet and not get down. Because listen, the complications of a narrow butterfly, the limiting factors of it, they come into play once you're off. Connor Halley has a narrow butterfly, and he's got 3 Vezina trophies in a heart, right? But the difference is Connor beats everything on his skates, right? So getting to a point where you're beating more of that in zone, and if that takes backing off to trust that I can get there on my skates rather than sliding, that's going to limit a lot of that back and forth movement where you start to see the swinging arms and everything get a little counter rotated. And so I think if you can sit back and let it come a little bit, I'm not talking Mike Smith depth, I'm not talking Henrik Lundqvist depth, but maybe a little bit more, a little more consistently. And again, I saw those things in his game as the year went on. I think it gives you a better chance to beat plays on your feet. It's once you get him to his knees that you start to have all those extra moving parts. And again, he's not the only goalie in the league with this, but the more you can beat on your skates, and that's the secret to Hellebuyck. He reads the game so well, and anticipation at times cheats on the anticipation in the playoffs, and it catches him. But he reads the game so well, he beats everything on his skates, and he rarely gets to his knees. And then once you get him to his knees, he's got the same challenges as Stu, but he's usually in such a conservative depth position that he gives that big frame a chance to get across.
Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com. So I know that, like, you know, can you clarify, because there's a lot of people out, Francilia is not a goalie coach, right? He doesn't work on the technical stuff, correct?
I know. I mean, I know I do believe there's an element of video review with this guys, but I believe he's just looking at biomechanics. And, you know, I mean, I have had some coaches around the league sort of be like, don't know if I love that. But, you know, so making sure you're on the same page, like that if it does get into the philosophical and technical and tactical elements, like there is a biomechanics part, but there are times when, you know, it's the read that's wrong. You've chosen the wrong depth. You've chosen the wrong save selection. So making sure that everybody's on the same page and moving forward, pushing that stone up the same hill with the same effort, as opposed to pushing and pulling against each other, is really important. But for the most part, Jason, like the idea is he's a biomechanics expert and a trainer. I've been lucky enough to sort of see the work in the off season and all this stuff he does. And this is an interesting point, because all the training work, and it's really unique. I got a real good glimpse at it last year, and some of the stuff is really, really unique. But it's all designed to limit that counter rotation and sort of keep you in one piece as you move. And so I would say that having done all that work for now a couple of seasons, if you're Stuart Skinner, to me that shows that work on its own is not enough, because that counter rotation was still a part of your game. And so there needs to be work to support it on the ice. And I know they do go on the ice as well, but there needs to be more work during the season to make sure, like training your body to not spin if you get chasing and opening and feeling like you have to reach and go faster, training your body to do it a different way and then executing it the way you want it. Clearly there's a separation there, because he has as much counter rotation in his game when he gets to his knees as anyone out there in the league right now, and he's trained away from it, or trained to try and limit it off the ice. Clearly there needs to be a transition and a support for it on the ice, and I would argue probably in season as well. And again, I'm hesitant on this one, Jason, because I know Dustin Schwartz understands this stuff, right? And you know, I don't want to rewind too much. I've said my piece. I've said it many times. Like, I think quite often with the Oilers, they've had a personnel goalie decision-making issue in terms of personnel, as opposed to what the goalie coach is doing with that personnel. And, you know, I get to say that because I screamed from the mountaintops for a month and a half about Kevin Lankinen last year, right? So, you know, we talked about Jack Campbell. So I don't want this to be, everything I'm saying can't be like, oh, like Dustin Schwartz wasn't doing this, why wasn't he doing this? Because I do think there was an element of this stuff happening already. So it's just, again, if you're the new guy coming in, understand what the goalie's trying to do, understand who he's trying to work with, and then make sure you get on the same page to support it. And if you can't, if you don't support everything that's going on, then you have tough conversations out of the gate, but not once the season starts. So for Peter Aubry, I would imagine that traveling and seeing these guys, as other goalie coaches do if they take new roles, they'll even go to Europe. Getting to know these guys and see these guys before the season starts, before they get back to Edmonton, is probably really important part of the job right now.
Yeah, Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com joins us. So, Kev, you talk about that on-ice rotation, and he has a lot of it. So, and you're doing some biomechanical stuff off of the ice to try to fix it. What are some other things on ice in a game that can help limit that rotation?
Counter rotation, sorry, because we want good rotation into angle. Yes. Counter is when we spin the other way. You mean in terms of in a game? Like, at the end of the day, this stuff needs to become innate. And so I think reads, like at the end, you've got this like giant circle of all these different attributes, and they all feed each other. So if I've trained off the ice and I've done the drills on the ice to make sure I'm getting good rotation, I'm tracking down, I'm building top-down rotation, my shoulders and my hips are moving first, all of that can be undone by feeling like I'm behind or I have to go. Like, oh, I better get there now. I start reaching. And as soon as I start reaching with my limbs, rather than leading that rotation from the top down, sort of how we track and move with our head, As soon as I start reaching with my body first, as soon as you go body first instead of rotation first, everything comes apart. And so part of this can be reads, trusting your reads. Again, playing deeper means, hey, I don't have to move as far. I'm in a good spot. I'm keeping the play in front of me. That puck needs to, even if there's a lateral pass, it needs to go off his stick and come back to me. I've got time to get there. Feeling like you're not in a rush will be a big part of helping this. So that mobility, whether it's on your knees or on your skates, the good rotation and all of that, at the end of the day, if you make a bad read or if you're not reading the play well and anticipating where it's going to go next and you get behind and you feel rushed, then you start reaching. And that's when this all comes apart. And that's why it's a pretty damn hard position, because for everything to work, all of those elements have to fall in place. I'm not sure how Stuart Skinner, how well he reads and anticipates. I think we forget how young he is and how little, he's only been in the league 3. Like, it's a process. Connor Hellebuck's been around for a decade already, right? Like, he reads as well as anyone in the entire league. Stick blades, hips, hands, everything. Everybody's on a different sliding scale of that. But all the work you do physically, all the work you do on the ice to build that good rotation can be done or undone in a real hurry if you're not anticipating and you feel like you've got to rush. Because as soon as we rush, as soon as we reach, everything comes apart.
Kev, as always, buddy, great stuff. We love it. We always learn a lot. Have yourself a fantastic week. Get in some physio, and we'll talk to you next one.
Yeah, my version of physio, Jason, is to just go lie in the hot tub. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Mix in a stretch while you're in there.
Yeah, I might be in there a while.
Awesome. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, guys.
There you go. That's Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 5 questions to get through. We got Spec, also the new assistant coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Paul McFarland will be joining us at 5:20. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Tee off to win with Cattail Crossing's $10,000 hole-in-one challenge, powered by Sports 1440, Canada's first ever Aqua Range event. Just walk up, grab some golf balls, and start swinging. Or book a VIP bay today. Win $10,000 with a hole-in-one. Plus, great secondary hole and leaderboard prizes. Closest to the pin and monthly winners will battle for a $50,000 grand prize. The hole-in-one challenge. Open Thursday to Sunday, noon till 8 through August. Weather permitting, cattailcrossing.ca.
Landscaping this summer? Call Bashaw Concrete Products. That's right, more than concrete. Their landscaping division has everything you're after. A huge selection of P-rock, washed rock, and sand, gray limestone, red shale, mulch, compost, landscape fabric, and topsoil. Plus, the full line of Barkman products, including pavers, retaining wall blocks, fire pits, and precast planters. Landscape products made for your outdoor living space. Residential or commercial, start here. BashawConcrete.com and follow them on Facebook. Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Hey, Canada. Set a reminder and get ready for Tim Hortons Camp Day on Wednesday, July 16th. Buy a coffee, a Camp Day bracelet, or donate on the Tim's app to help build a better future for Canadian youth at participating restaurants in Canada.
The employee pricing event is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $12,000 off the 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. Bring power wherever you go with a 6.2-liter EcoTech V8 engine with dynamic fuel management technology. Bring style to the open road with a signature Denali Vader chrome grille and accents. And keep comfort top of mind with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance capability. Employee pricing is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? Buy Canadian. Cantork's products are not only made in Canada, but right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at Cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
I love it. Damn it, Gregor. Now you got me head bobbing every vehicle I pull up on. King of Fort Nasty. Yeah, see, I get it. All of you are like, I've never looked in the vehicle beside me, and now all of a sudden I'm at the red light and I'm looking at everybody. Well, there you go. Nod. Give him a wave. Smile. That'll be better. I'm amazed at how many people told us that when they were single, they did it all the time, and a few of you got dates out of it. Hey, why not? If you're meeting online, why can't you just meet at a red light? Hey, I like the look of you. Right, roll your window down, give him a honk. I don't know how you do it, but good for those who did. Hey, whatever. It's all good. You're on tires. At least it shows you can wheel something. It's nice. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. You got 2 days left. Canada's biggest appliance sale. Look around your home. You got major kitchen appliances and you need them? Well, shop in at The Brick. Go in store for some of their best savings. You get a 60% off clearance appliances and below cost scratch or dent. And when I say scratch or dent, like it can be so small and it's unreal. You get 60% off. The best deal you ever get. Only for the next few days at The Brick in store.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1 for you of the Oilers coaching hires today. Is there one that you think should excite the fans the most?
Oh, man. Well, I guess I'm going to go with Pete Aubry because the one coach who seemed to draw the ire of people more than anybody was Dustin Schwartz. I'd like to just deal in facts. And so anytime someone would tell me, oh, all these goalies left and got better, I'd be like, oh, yeah, who? And they could never really name it. Devin Dubnyk, I'm like, they didn't work together. Cam Talbot, no different when he left to when he was here. Same goalie. You look at his save percentage in Edmonton, look at his save percentage in his career, it's exact same. So, hey, really 2 good years, 3 years in Edmonton, 4th year, not great. That was the year that Chiarelli pulled his contract off. Now, is that more of a mental thing? Maybe, but who knows? So yeah, I guess I will go with Aubry.
Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me, and I mean that's going to be a tough one. There's going to be some pressure because Oiler fans already have that history now of blaming the goaltending coach when something goes wrong. So I think he's stepping into a hot seat already, almost hoping for the best.
But see, I look at Stu Skinner is gaining more experience. Right, so Stu Skinner could be getting better just because he's getting more experience at a very tough position, and so he'll have a decent year, and then everyone's going to say, wow, look, the coach is awesome. I actually think Aubry's probably in a pretty good position that they'll suggest that, because it's not like Stuart Skinner didn't have good stretches, right? Last year when Knobloch took over, Stu Skinner was top 7 in save percentage, goals saved above expected, and goals against average. And then in 23 of his 25 playoff games, 21 of 23 was pretty good. He had 2 terrible games. The other 21 is pretty solid. He had a 916 and a 2.14 goals against. So it's not like he hasn't shown potential. It just, I think if they could get him more consistent, that would be considered a big win for sure.
Absolutely. Question number 2 for you. I know some Elks fans frustrated after the most recent loss. Any part of you that thinks they may need to make a move at quarterback?
It's a good question. I thought Ford took a real big step against Ottawa, and then it kind of all went backwards. So I think, well, not backwards. He just missed a few deep balls, right? Like, let's call a spade here. And like the one he missed on wasn't terrible. It ends up being a jump ball, but still it missed an opportunity. So I wouldn't do it yet. If you believe in the quarterback, you got to live with it, because are you making all the changes on defense? Like, what's been more inconsistent, quarterbacking or defense? Defense, not even close. Like, it's actually, I guess it's been consistently bad. So I guess that's not even inconsistent. So no, I would stick with him.
I'm with you. This just kind of frustration for me from the previous regime, where I wish you would have got a chance to work on some of those things and, go through the process of making mistakes and learning from them and learning to trust his reads and things of that nature. I wouldn't do it yet. I mean, it's certainly something you can go to, but for me, I'm still riding with Trey Ford. Still want him to work through these things. And maybe you get to that point where Fajardo has to be the guy, but I'm not there yet.
I don't mind if let's say he has a struggle early on in Saskatchewan, I'd put Fajardo in for like the time they did in Ottawa. I never understood it, but if he's struggling for a bit, I would put Fajardo in and then go back to Ford. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not just going to say, okay, if I pull Ford, that means Fajardo's now my starter 100%. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Question number 3 for you. Saw an article up at TSN about Erik Karlsson and could he potentially land in Canada? If they were moving on from Karlsson and if they were to do so, where do you think would be a good spot for him?
Good question. I know they talk like, it'd be Darnell Nurse. Nurse isn't waving to go to Pittsburgh. Like, let's be real here. I think where would it be a good fit for Karlsson? Oof. In Canada?
Or anywhere.
Okay.
They had a Canada as an option with a team in our city, but
yeah, I don't see like Ottawa really being one. Definitely not Winnipeg, Toronto. Well, funny enough, maybe Toronto, because they need somebody to run their power play and help there. They've got enough defensive-minded defense when they need a better puck mover. So I guess if I was going to pick one, I would pick there in Canada. But I don't see a great fit, to be honest.
yeah, I'm kind of with you there. And I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to get out of Pittsburgh. Obviously, probably wants a chance to win. So one of those good teams. I don't know if I have a really good spot. Like, maybe, I don't know. I just feel like the good teams, you'd probably have to get the Penguins to retain salary to make it work. And I just think it's going to be tough. So I'll throw the Vegas Golden Knights out there as a team who just always seems to be in on those types of players. I'll put his name in the category. Now, question number 4 for you. Major League Baseball home run derby tonight. If you had to pick, who would you be picking?
Go ahead.
Man, is it too easy to just go with the big dumper? I think it's he's obviously Rally's been doing great things this year, and I hope that it might continue into this one just to keep it going. And he's been such a good story. He's been on our team in the Fantasy Frenzy Major League Baseball League, so he would be kind of the one I might just throw out there. And then it'd be nice for the Athletics. They've had such a tough go. How about Brent Rooker?
Yeah.
The chance to do something.
Well, it's interesting that O'Neill Cruz, who has the fewest home runs of anybody at 16, is like second or first on a lot of people. They think his swing is really going to work. So I guess so, but I'm like, well, then why isn't he hitting more home runs in the regular season? So that to me would be, but I'm going to go a team that's being grossly underperforming all year long. I'm going to say Matt Olson. I'm going to go off the board a bit. I'm going to go with Matt Olson.
All right. And
the guy I'd like to see win, though, just because he doesn't look like a home run hitter, is Chaz Chisholm Jr.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
But he's a Yankee, right? So,
yeah, well, I don't care about that. Like, this is the home run competition. I don't care what team they play on.
I still do. Final question for you. On this day in 1999, the Blair Witch Project was released. And I will say, to this day, Gregor, one of the scariest scenes to me is the end of the movie, when all of a sudden you see the character facing the wall. So I want to ask you, what is the scariest movie scene that you've ever seen?
Go ahead. So is that yours?
Honestly, it might be. Like, it's still, because it wasn't like terrifying. It wasn't a jump scare. It wasn't anything like that. It was just so creepy the way, like when you know the story and what it means. It freaked me out. I will also say, just in terms of looks, the movie The Nun. I hated how she looked. It freaks me out. I had a hard time getting through it. So any scene with The Nun would always scare me. But yeah, Blair Witch Project, that'd be up there.
All right. Well, if I was, only because I think this is I know it happens in real life. Did you ever see the dog attack scene in Evil Lurks, or When Evil Lurks?
No,
dude, like that's that one was, because sadly dogs do attack people, and that scene I'm like, oof. Now the movie wasn't very good, but that one was that attack was crazy. So that's when the kid gets mauled by her own dog. Like, that one got me. So I'm gonna go with that one.
I would say, like, honorable mention, I love the movie Sinister. I think it's one of my favorite horror movies. But the way Mr. Boogie, what is the name of that one? The way he gets these kids to do these sinister acts. There's a couple that are just like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. So that'd be in there as well.
Yeah. What about now? I don't even know what I would call it, but now have you ever seen like the original Alien?
No.
I've
been told so many times. My dad would be disappointed. Yeah, he's told me so many times. You got to go watch Alien. Yeah, haven't seen it.
Well, to me, when there is the chest burster, right? That might be second for me. Declan's not in his head, but that one was pretty like gruesome. But honestly, that dog attack scene, I don't necessarily recommend watching it, but that one got me. It was just like, oh, it was done very well, but you might not like it. Might not like it at all. So, hey guys, terrifying scene was with a screaming bear and Annihilation. Horrifying for Mike. You know what? I don't think I've seen that movie. So, hey guys, what about The Descent? If you've seen it, you know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. So,
I have seen it, but when I watched it, you've ever watched a scary movie with a group of friends and you just kind of mock it?
The scary movie?
Yeah, like you guys watch it, just any movie, and instead of taking it seriously, everyone just kind of cracks jokes the whole time. That's how I watched The Descent. In like a bright room with a bunch of my buddies. It didn't feel that scary in that situation.
Oh, okay.
But a good movie.
What's the premise of The Descent? Descending into darkness.
Essentially, yeah. It's girls, kind of like a girls trip, and they go on like a hike, and they enter a cave, and then it goes downhill from there because there's kind of some things lurking.
In the cave.
In the caves, yeah.
Ooh.
And then, it's like the one girl, like, come on, like she's the extreme one, kind of gets them all to go do it.
Oh, okay. And then they go in the cave and it doesn't go well.
They should not have gone in there.
Turn the lights on.
That's how I'd be watching it.
That's
how I did watch.
Is that when you're yelling though at the movie, like turn the lights on? Come on, turn the lights on. Yeah, I get it. So, Speck will join us. Got a few scary scenes with him on the show. I'll tell you that. He's up next, and then we'll hear from the newest member of the Edmonton Oilers, Paul McFarland. What's he going to bring to the Oilers power play? Is there a lot of pressure? I had an interview with Craig McTavish around on the weekend. He joked, man, wouldn't want to be the guy coming in and run that power play. But I look at it like, okay, but man, like you still got some pretty good pieces to work with. So maybe just introduce a few new wrinkles. And they're like, okay, because you could probably challenge these guys in ways that you can't necessarily challenge others because they have the skill level to do some of the stuff you're challenging them. Let's see. Let's get to Connor Halley. Sports 1440 update brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Instance, lottery, live dealer, casino, and sports. Your one-stop shop at PlayAlberta.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers making some announcement today saying Paul Coffey will not be behind the bench for the team next season, returning to his role as special advisor to ownership and hockey operations. The team also announced the hirings of Paul McFarland as an assistant coach. He'll join us at 5:20. Peter Aubry is the goaltending coach, and Conor Allen as a skills coach. Former coach Dustin Schwartz was not offered a new contract. Sad news today is longtime Blue Jays pitcher Jim Clancy passing away at the age of 69. The right-hander was a member of the inaugural Blue Jays team and went on to play the first 12 seasons of his 15-year career with the club. Major League Baseball festivities get going tonight in Atlanta with the Home Run Derby getting going in just over an hour. Midsummer Classic goes tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And from the NFL, the New York Jets locking up wideout Garrett Wilson on a 4-year deal worth $130 million. In the association, Victor Wembanyama announcing that he's been cleared to return after suffering from blood clots that limited him to just 46 games last season. In the WNBA, Chicago hosting the Lynx at 6, then at 8, Mercury in San Fran taking on the Valkyries. Coming up in hour number 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and new Oilers assistant coach Paul McFarland. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. for sales, service, parts, rental, and finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezers start at just $199. Barbecue start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below-cost scratch and dent items in-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Breaking news, McDonald's international menu items are vanishing. McPizza Bites missing in Italy. Big Rusty stolen from Germany. Teriyaki chicken sandwich disappears in Japan. And a Biscoff McFlurry blackout in Belgium. Oh, this just in. We can now confirm the stolen favorites have resurfaced at McDonald's Canada. The international menu heist. Try them all while you can. For a limited time in participating McDonald's in Canada.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember. The sun is shining, the weather's warm, and some of Edmonton's favorite sports are back in season. If you're looking for the cherry on top of a perfect summer day, check out Play Alberta to experience casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code SUMMER to claim a $100 casino bonus. That's promo code SUMMER for a $100 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Kruger breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth EE football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock. Did you make your way home? Made it through another day, boys and girls. Congratulations. Stop at the red light. Maybe look over to your neighbor in the vehicle, or don't, whichever one you prefer. Some of you love to car watch. Others are like, no, thanks. Not my thing. We discussed that at length earlier in the show. It was interesting listening to the different points of view on why you were for or against it, depending on how you roll. I get it. Understand it. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50. New one every month. So on your next play, check it out. Gregor50. That's 50. And you get a free $50 play. As we roll through, it's time for the Spec Report. We'll have Mr. McFarland, Paul McFarland, the new assistant coach of the Oilers, coming up after Spec. Brought to you by GS Construction. They are hiring. You want to work for a fantastic company, great benefits. You will also have an opportunity to not just make it a job, but make it a career. They love promoting from within. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How are you doing?
It's a beautiful day. Summertime. Got these coaches hired. Life's good, man. I'm not working for the Elks, so I'm doing okay today. How are you doing?
Yeah, touche on that. We'll get to the green and gold in a sec, but let's start. The coaching staff is filled out. They got 3 new members of the staff. Paul McFarland is coming up next. Assistant coach Peter Aubry, the goalie coach, and Conor Allen is the skills coach. What do you make of it?
Well, I'm interested to get to know these guys. I'm not going to come on the show here and tell you that I know these guys at all. I trust that Knobloch has relationships with them. I want to hear what McFarland says actually on your show. I have it bookmarked to listen in here after me. And I guess I was like you. I listened to the press conference and I heard you ask about a goalie department. And I was kind of hoping there'd be a little more fulsome hire in the goalie end of things. But I guess they're just going with a straight goalie coach. And you know what? Let's see where it goes, man. They need some type of change. And in today's NHL, it's hard to fully change out your roster, especially when you got a good one. So changing the coaching staff's that's how it's going to have to be in Edmonton. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, I wrote about the in an ideal world, I think having a goalie department, considering lots of other teams have one, would have been an option. My understanding is it's not ruled out, but it's not going to happen this year. Potentially down the road is something. And people can always say, well, what are you waiting for? And I guess maybe finances are part of it. I'm not sure. Well,
for the right people, too. I think probably waiting for the right people. Maybe
yeah, but potentially. Oh no, because I asked Kevin Woodley about so obviously Ian Clark's a name at the top of the list for people, right? Sean Burke. Now, those are 2 guys in your division. So if they have contracts, are those teams going to grant you permission to interview them? Might be a little bit harder. You know what I mean? So you could be onto something there, Spec, for sure. Right? Like there's not a lot of guys that could be a goalie coach, but necessarily can't overhead the department yet, right? Like you need a certain amount of experience to do that job. My understanding is if you look at guys around the league who are in those roles, they've been around for quite some time. So McFarland's got a pretty good record, right? He's been a head coach at in junior multiple times, being an assistant coach in the NHL in 3 different organizations. So he's seen different things. He comes in, it kind of depends how you look at it. McTavish joked in my interview on Saturday that, man, I'm not sure that's a job I'd want to take because there's so much pressure. They mean that, the best power play in the NHL for the last 7 years. They had the best year ever a few seasons ago. It's been pretty good. Now, the good news is the guys who still touch the puck, who ultimately make a lot of the split-second decisions, they're all still there. So it's just a matter of, can you maybe, just bring something a little bit new or different. It's not like they didn't fire the guy. It's just Gallison got a head coaching job, right? So it's not like they were unhappy necessarily with things. And Chris Knobloch even mentioned that, they would have brought him back if he was around, but he isn't. So I look at McFarland and I spoke to Paul very briefly. He's coming on the show, but obviously he's ecstatic that A, you're in the NHL, but B, you're getting to work with this power play unit. Like they could make him look good, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think when you get a veteran group of 5 guys here that have been together this long, this is rare. Like you don't see, like we can all name the Oilers 5-man power play unit just off the top of our head so fast because they've been together. Well, since Hyman got to town, he's completed it pretty much, right?
Yeah.
How many seasons would we say these 5 have been together? Is it 4 years? Is it?
That'd be 4 years.
Got to be 4 years. Anyway, like this McFarland is frankly more of a power play coordinator because when you sit in the video room with the Oilers power play guys, they don't need a whole lot of coaching, right? They've been through it. They know what works. They know what the first change has to be. If they face a ton of pressure, they know what to do. If they face a team that sits back, they know what to do. If Draisaitl gets taken away, they know where plan B is. If Bouchard, if you can't use his shot, they know where to go. Like these guys are going to help McFarland as much as he's going to help them. So it's, I guess his job comes, Jay. His job comes when some other opposing PK, throw something at you haven't seen, that's where the coach is going to have to step in and say, okay, I got a solution, or I'll come up with one before the next game starts. But in terms of telling these guys what to do on a nightly basis, I'm not sure how much coaching they need, Jay.
Well, I think you can always improve, but it's not just your first unit. I think, honestly, Spec, this year, because the conversation I had with people in the organization at the end of the season was that next year, now it's not going to be 50-50, but I think a lot of people recognize the need to get the second unit a little bit more touches, a little bit more confidence, a little bit more production, because if they get a little bit more production on the power play, that can stem into their production 5-on-5. And so the coach, well, the first unit might be good. You got to really coach up the second unit. You're going to have Howard. You're probably going to have Matt Savoy, right? You can, whether it's Jake Wallman or Nurse or whoever the defenseman is, Henry Mangiapane. So you've got some other skill guys here. So it's not just going to be the first unit, right? Like you're going to, because the second unit, there's certain things they just can't do. No one can one-time the puck from a sharp angle on the second unit like Draisaitl. So you're not going to try to re-emulate that. You're going to have to come up with something different. So I think that's where it's really going to come into play.
Yeah, I think, you're right. And I banged this drum a year ago thinking they were going to play the second unit more, and I was wrong. They didn't. But I think it's a metaphor for the whole organization. We've watched this team, Jay, you, me, all our listeners, for years. And we keep coming back to trying to build a team where the top guys don't do all the heavy lifting. And the power play is one last sort of horizon here where that's exactly what it is. The top guys do all the heavy lifting, right? There is no second unit here that ever gets any chance. And frankly, the less success the top unit has, the more they run them out there and the longer they stay searching for that success. So I am so with you on this being a place where the rest of the team gets to try to help once in a while instead of just relying on the top guys. I think the power play is maybe the last place where they've really not gone very far down that road, Jay. They've really never emancipated the second group and said, you know what, we're going to give you some real time, not 22 seconds at the end of a penalty, but some actual time to pass the puck around and find yourselves out there. I'm all for it. If you're right, I'll tell you what, I hope you're right, because I think it's time.
Yeah, no, I think that's, it's fair. And I think it's obviously in certain situations, what, you're down a goal. Well, I'm still going to go with the unit that gives you 25% chance to score, right? Like that's a no-brainer. Sure. But other times, yeah, you can look at it to see if it's going to benefit you or not. Were you surprised that they really didn't replace Paul Coffey, right? Stewart's just going to stay on the bench, running the penalty kill and the defense.
I guess I'm a little surprised they're going to go down one guy on the bench. I mean, maybe they just, that's a individual coaching thing. Some coaches like an extra guy, some don't.
Yeah.
I like Mark Stewart's work. I think he's been good. You kind of never know, like, how much of the failings of the PK last season do we blame in the coach and how much do we blame in the players? I really don't know the answer to that, Jason. I don't know if you do, So I'm fine with Mark Stewart. I think he's a good coach. I know he's a really good man. And I think if you give him a little more responsibility, Paul Coffey steps away. I think let's see if he can fly, right? Let's see if he can take what Paul Coffey helped with, put it in his resume, and let's see how he does.
Yeah, well, I think there was a combination of a few things. I do believe that they missed Desharnais and Ceci and Ekholm, especially in the playoffs. You can't argue with that. Like they didn't block as many shots. It didn't get in the lane. So I think that was a factor. The penalty kill unit, when it's best, it's moving like one organism together. Yeah. And last year, I felt they never really got in sync. Right, they had a stretch run for about 30 games when their penalty kill was good. It was actually, funny enough, the best in the league. So they're capable of it. But then, that was a 30-game stretch. And the other, 70 games, regular season and penalty and playoffs was not good at all. So that's the thing. 30% of the time, they're really good. But then the other 70%, not good at all. Like, arguably, the second worst power play in history in the playoffs amongst the 489 teams that have played at least 10 games in a playoff. So that's obviously not
Is that bad, Jay? Wait a second. Is that bad?
I think it's bad. Yeah, so not good. So obviously there's room to improve, and it'll be interesting to see where it does. Now, some other things talking to Knobloch, I loved his answer about Thomas Sek. He's like, hey man, you know what? Like he's the one guy. Like it's the caramel secret. You don't really know potentially what you're going to get. But when I asked him about the young guys, he had an interesting response that I think it all depends on how you interpret it. Some people say, he goes, hey, you know what? Howard, I think we're going to find him some time in the second unit power play. Matt Savoy is definitely going to be on the penalty kill. We'll really like his two-way game. And some people say, oh, they're putting Matt Savoy as a two-way winger. I look at the opposite. I think there's the coach saying, why did Podkolzin play in the top six all year? Because he was responsible defensively. I think the fact that the coach is already talking about Matt Savoy's two-way play, that bodes well for Matt Savoy getting a longer look in the top six because he's going to be playing against the other team's best players, and the coach already believes he can trust them defensively.
Yeah, everyone who's spent any time, at the rink and around hockey and talks to coaches knows that it's not about, what your analytics are. It's not about what your body type is. It's not about what you did in the last place you played. The coach you have on this team on this day has to trust you.
Yes.
That coach has to be able to think to himself, I'm putting Matt Savoy over the boards. I'm putting Jason Gregor over the boards. And I'm not, he's not going to cost us. He's not going to hurt us. Hopefully he helps us, but it always starts in a place where you can't hurt us or you're not going to get to play much. So if you trust a young player to kill penalties, that is so good for his career and so good for his assimilation into being a big part of a team. Guys who kill penalties, man, inside the dressing room, like people always used to say, Cody Ceci or the guys who block shots, like big deal. Yeah, inside the dressing room, those things are a big deal, right? If Matt Savoy can come in here and impress and do a good job killing penalties, as well as playing a normal regular shift at 5-on-5, he will assimilate into this team and be a big part of things so fast, so much faster, right? That's a huge opportunity for him. And he's sitting at home going, awesome. If I'm getting this chance, I can't wait to have that chance on this team this season.
Mark Spector joins us. The Elks, man, nothing was good in that game. Let's call a spade here. The offense this year at least has shown some growth at times, right? Trey Ford had a perfect quarterback rating the last game out. The defense has stunk basically from day one this season. Are you surprised that we have yet to see much progress on the defensive side of the ball, and how concerning is it?
Yeah, I am. I don't like this defense. We were told when the season started, it was their strong suit. This was where they'd spent some money. This is where they brought some people in. This was supposed to carry this offense along till it found its sea legs. And it hasn't. It hasn't been any good at all. They're giving up 30 every night. Now, I'm going to say to you, yesterday, they were on the field so much it was inevitable. You do need the offense to possess the ball a little bit. Right?
Totally fair. Yeah.
Yesterday was a pretty tough day to defend. But no, the defense got to be better. Here's what I didn't like about yesterday. I feel like the one thing we can count on this team is their running backs. Their running backs are pretty good. They've got two guys that have shown if you put the ball in their hand, they can get some yards, particularly Leak. And I feel like they didn't give him a chance yesterday to help a young quarterback who wasn't throwing the ball very well. I felt like the ground game wasn't even an option, or, a short pass into Leak's hands, like a screen pass, and let him find some open field and make some yards. I felt like the only way they were going to make yards was Ford throwing the ball, mid-range to deep, and he wasn't doing a very good job at that. I thought the play calling stunk. I thought the offensive coordinator did a horse bleep job. His quarterback wasn't good yesterday, and he didn't give him any help. And I didn't like it one bit. I'm not saying Ford was any good, and we can have the conversation, Jay, about Ford long-term. We can do that. But right now, you got a young guy who's trying to figure it out, and you're sinking or swimming with him, and that's what we wanted in this town. That's what we have. And on a day like yesterday, the offensive coordinator hung him out to dry. And I think they should look at some film and ask themselves some tough questions on what they're going to do next time Trey Ford isn't on top of his game. There's got to be a plan B, and they didn't have one yesterday.
Yeah, and they got to figure out their defense, because even before the offense wasn't on the field, the defense wasn't getting any stops, right? Like that.
For sure. That's the second question that has to happen here. More pressure. I mean, didn't they get their first turnover yesterday? And it was a batted ball that Serezna caught in the air. That's an unorthodox turnover, right?
Yeah, no, it's not. It has not been good for them defensively at all this season. So, Spec, we'll let you get back to the cabin. Enjoy your day. And well, I know you'll be listening because McFarland's up next. So,
yeah, I'm listening in. Thanks, brother.
There you go. That's Mark Speck for the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we return, the new assistant coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, he is coached in Seattle, Florida, as well as Toronto, and was the Calgary Hitmen head coach last year for one season, but he's back in the big chair. Paul McFarland joins us next. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Some jobs are easy, and some jobs are not. When the going gets tough and the job is tough, GS Construction hires good people to get the job done right. So, if you know it takes teamwork, grit, and the utmost care to work underground, this might be who we're looking for. Right now, GS Construction is hiring experienced foremen to join our crew. Apply today at gsconstruction.ca. And remember, from the first manhole to the final tie-in, we've got your back. GS Construction. Tough jobs, good people.
B2 Gold needs mill operators for their new Nunavut mine. Earn $110,000 to $130,000 with a fly-in, fly-out rotation and paid benefits. Get in on the ground floor of a brand new operation. Visit the B2 Gold Job Fair, July 17th and 18th at the Terrace Office Tower in Edmonton.
Summer. The sun's out, the road's calling, and your car said... Nope. Don't let your summer road trip turn into a roadside nap. Swing by Napa Auto Parts. Napa has the trusted tools, smarts, and quality parts for all your automotive needs this summer. Get your vehicle ready for the road and just in time for your kids to start testing your patience and sanity.
Are we there yet?
With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
B2 Gold needs mill operators for their new Nunavut mine. Earn $110,000 to $130,000 with a fly-in, fly-out rotation and paid benefits. Get in on the ground floor of a brand new operation. Visit the B2 Gold Job Fair, July 17th and 18th at the Terrace Office Tower in Edmonton.
Portions of this hour brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Get up to $12,000 off a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Denali Ultimate only at gmccanada.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$522. Welcome back. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely day as it's time to talk with the newest member of the Edmonton Oilers coaching staff. He, of course, actually won the OHL championship back in 2003 as a member of the Kitchener Rangers. And he went on to play for the Axemen at Acadia, then got into his coaching career, first in the OHL, then as an assistant, then a head coach with Kingston, then went to the NHL with Florida, Toronto, back in Kingston for a year, then went to Seattle, Kraken for 3 seasons, then 1 year for the Hitmen, and now will join his 4th NHL franchise. Paul McFarland joins us. Paul, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Hey, before we get to, did Darren Burns inspire your coaching aspirations?
No question. I think my time at Acadia did for sure. I'll tell you that. And that's one of always the best decisions I think I ever made was going to Acadia and spending 4 years with Darren Burns. But, just the experience of being in that community, having a chance to work with a lot of young kids at that stage in their hockey schools as a part of that program, that was really what I think started my passion for teaching and ultimately getting into coaching.
Well, Wolfville, Nova Scotia, man, one of the most unreal places. My brother actually played in Acadia for many years. They're part of that. They won a national championship, and he raised about it. And of course, Burns was his teammate when he played. So I've met Darren a few times. So
Wolf is a great spot.
Oh, it's an unbelievable place for a young guy to go to university. There's probably not many better places for sure. So, Paul, you and Chris Knobloch coached against each other. You coached together on Team Canada. Kind of walk me through the process. Did he call you to say you're interested? Did you call him? How did, I guess, kind of take us through the interview process?
Yeah, I mean, Chris and I have, I guess, known each other for a little while. We coached against each other in the OHL, and I was fortunate enough to work with him at a Hockey Canada event. It seems like it was a long time ago, but I think our paths have crossed at different things over the years. And obviously, when this opened up, it was like, it's a really unique situation. Obviously, there's not many situations like it, and feel fortunate to be sitting in the chair that I am today.
You come into a situation where you got two of the most skilled players in the NHL offensively. Then there's that Bouchard guy, and he's not bad. And then there's Hyman and Nugent Hopkins. It's obviously been, for over a 7-year period, the best power play, tied for the best power play in NHL history with the Islanders for a 5-year span, had the best single season record. So, and you have all the same guys. It's rare to have that continuity, Paul. So when you come in, is it like, oh my God, I don't want to screw it up? Or is it like, oh my God, like I've got such a piece of clay here to work with and help mold?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. I mean, at the end of the day, like every coaching journey, I think the best part about it for me is meeting the people and getting to know the players. And, obviously we're in this to try to help them get better and improve, but ultimately that's where it starts, getting to know the people, and the better we can get to know each other, ultimately the better our product's going to be on the ice. So, spend as much time as I can, even starting in the off season, to do that. And then ultimately there's no denying, as you said, this power play has had a lot of success over the years because of the coaching staff's job that they've done, and also the players that obviously play and execute on the ice. So you'd be crazy to come in and think that you're going to make a bunch of changes to it. At the end of the day, I think they have things that they're great at, and you want to continue to put players in positions to have success, and then obviously look to continue to build and try to create our own little things that maybe we can tweak to continue to be better, even better as we move forward.
So now that you got the job, do you kind of pour through all of the power plays from last season, or is it like, you get together with the film guys and say, here you go, here's our last 5 years of power plays? How far do you go back to watch exactly what they were doing?
Well, I think, because I've been in the NHL at a few different spots, we've all watched this power play for a long time. I mean, when you're running special teams or working in the special teams area as a coach, or ultimately you're watching that almost feels like 24/7. So I think we're all familiar with what they're great at. And again, that's not something we want to take away from. We want to continue to build on those strengths. We want to continue to put players in situations to have success. I think their power plays at their best when there's a little bit of chaos. They're obviously very good at getting pucks back and wearing the opponent down by having time spent in the offensive zone where the penalty killers ultimately get tired and aren't able to execute. So that still has to continue to be a big piece of what they do, regardless of whatever scheme you want to have. The best power plays for me are able to get pucks back and extend possession and put miles on the penalty kill. And I think that's been a huge strength of theirs over the years.
So, Paul, you came into Florida first, then you were in Toronto, and then 3 years in Seattle most recently from 22 to 24. And so as a power play coach in those places, obviously you're focused on your power play, but do your PK guy come to you and say, okay, Paul, what do we do here to try to slow them down? Did you spend as much time, seeing how to slow them down? And does that help you as knowing what works?
Well, no one's slowed them down. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. But, I think as a coaching staff, working with Chris and Mark and the rest of the coaches, there's always collaboration on all these things. We all have a different vantage point and different viewpoint. So they've obviously seen these players up close and personal now for a few years. So it'd be great to get their perspective as well. And, I have coming in from an outside perspective, a different perspective, having seen it from across the bench. So I think all those things considering, it's going to give it hopefully a little bit more energy and continue, like I said, to build on what they've already been great at and continue to make sure it's a threat moving forward.
Paul McFarland joins us, the head coach or assistant coach, of the Edmonton Oilers. Just announced that hiring earlier today. And Paul, so outside of, overseeing the power play, how else will you support and help Chris, and what other responsibilities are you going to have?
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave that up to Chris to continue to talk about. But at the end of the day, I think as a coaching staff, I'm really excited to work with the people that are involved and the players obviously on the team. I think our job as coaches is to bring energy every day. I'd call it juice, but you got to have that kind of juice. I mean, the 82 game schedule, I guess it's going to be 84 soon, is a long season. and there's going to be ups and downs in any year as for every team, even the best teams, and continue to have that energy and enthusiasm. I think that's a big part of any coach's role, especially as an assistant coach. Like I said earlier, we're all there to try to help our players get better, and ultimately that's what we want to see them maximize what they're capable of, both individually and ultimately collectively, us as a hockey team.
Paul, from your coaching journey here the last few seasons, where do you fit? What have you learned the most going from the NHL, then back to junior, then back to the NHL? What's been the thing you feel you've learned the most as a coach?
Well, I think being a young guy in the NHL, I didn't have a lot of experience, and I didn't worry about it. I think now, having obviously been in a couple of different places, I've worked with a number of great players. You learn things from those players. You learn from different experiences. And I think because of that experience, you're ultimately probably just a little calmer, going through the ups and downs of a season, even the ups and downs of running a special team. I think all those experiences help prepare you better for the next job. And like I said, when you didn't have it, you didn't worry about it. But now that you do have some different experiences and you've worked with a number of different players, you're going to use that to your advantage. And we all talk about X's and O's, and that's what we love to talk about as coaches. But at the end of the day, it comes down to relationships for me, and us trying to, obviously become as close as we can with the players, making sure that we're continuing to evolve.
When you say that you'd be crazy to, make massive changes, obviously to a power play that's been that successful, but and you've worked with some high-end, really skilled guys. Now, obviously McDavid and Draisaitl are maybe even higher end than some of the guys you worked with in Toronto. But when you work with those players, because Craig McTavish interviewed him and he said, you know what, like the star guys, like it's not easy to manage them. Like they are very demanding, and that's not in a bad way. That's just kind of how they're wired. And, they want to see things right away. How do you, having gone to 3 different organizations over time, what do you find, like, how's the best way to kind of assimilate and earn the trust of the players that you know what you're talking about?
Well, I think with the best players in the world, you have to eliminate the fluff. I mean, they're smart guys. You have to come with them good ideas. That's the reality of it. And I've heard even Glenn talk about it over the years, right? Where you can't come to them with, an average idea. It's got to be something that's going to work. I'm not going to be afraid to try different things. I think, we've talked about it with Chris even. I think it's important to, like I said, build on what they're great at, but again, try to not be afraid to do things differently as well. So it's working with them and ultimately trying to build that relationship where there's trust both ways. And that's going to take time. Like every relationship takes a bit of time, but that's what's exciting, right? And I think the one thing that I learned, we had success in Florida while I was there on the power play. And some of the things that we were great at in Florida didn't necessarily transfer to Toronto because of the personnel and maybe the strengths. So I think that's where the power play is a little bit unique, right? And it's not cookie cutter where one thing's going to work everywhere. Obviously, we have some special players in Edmonton, and their strengths are going to be different from players that I've already worked with. So at the end of the day, it's trying to, again, build on those strengths and put them in positions of success.
Paul McFarland joins us. Paul, it's not just your top unit, because I know there's some talk in the organization that they're going to want to give the second unit a little bit more time. And, you've got some young guys, Ike Howard, Matt Savoy, really high-end players, obviously at lower levels. Having been a power play coach before, and lots of teams, you run your first unit. Some, rely on their first one. Their first unit's as good as Edmonton. I get why they play more. But how do you, as a coach, then know that, like, you got to create a second unit that's very different, right? Because they don't have McDavid, they don't have Draisaitl, so they got different skill sets. So is that the exciting part of it, just to kind of help mold a second unit that's going to bring in some new guys, and Mangiapane and Howard and Savoy and potentially some others?
Yeah, it's all exciting. I mean, I think every player on the team, it's maybe cliche, but they're all important, right? And you're going to go through different injuries and things that are going to happen over the course of the year where different players aren't available. And it's our, obviously, job to make sure everyone can be prepared to be put in those situations. And sometimes, hopefully our second unit can score some big goals. That's the reality. That's what you want. You want both units to be prepared. No different than you want 4 lines and 6D and 2 goalies to be able to play. I think you need everybody. I'm sure this team has seen that over the last couple of seasons as the different runs they've been on, and we have to continue to make sure we're developing and working with everyone. That's what we're here for. And it's not just we're trying to make sure we maximize the entire group.
So, Paul, when you were done at Acadia, was coaching something that always intrigued you? What did you do from that year to Acadia before you got with the Generals?
You know what? I actually spent a year in accounting, and then quickly, I was fortunate. DJ Smith and Jeff Toohey gave me my first job in coaching in Oshawa, and
Okay.
I missed it, missed the game, missed being involved, and I was lucky, like I said, for those two individuals to give me my first job in coaching, and kind of haven't looked back since. So I think I think every step of the way I've worked with some great people. That's what excites me about this opportunity to work with Chris and his staff. But I think I'm always very grateful to different people that have given me opportunities along the way that's led to this one.
And coming into Edmonton, like when you came into Florida back 2017, they weren't the team now where they're obviously back-to-back champs, right? Toronto was good, but hadn't had any real playoff success. Seattle was basically a new team. Coming into a team that has legit Stanley Cup aspirations, that's being a legit Stanley Cup contender, obviously I'm assuming makes it more exciting, but do you have to ensure that you don't take it too serious? Oh my God, like you can't win the Stanley Cup in October. You know what I mean? Is it different at all coming into a team with such high expectations?
Well, I think for me, every year's, it's cliche to say, but every year starts fresh, right? There's 32 teams that are all thinking the same thing in October next year. And, it's great that this team's had a lot of playoff success and experience. And I'm sure those, the successes and scars are going to help them moving forward. But again, everyone starts at zero all over again. And it's going to be exciting to be a part of that. I think the team itself right now, they've been on a long run, 9-10 month run. I'm sure the players are tired and trying to heal up. And I'm sure the coaching staff is feeling similar. I probably have a little bit more energy than most of them at this time of the year, right? Just based on how the last few months have gone for them. But so that's going to be a different perspective, right? And ultimately, that's what excites me about this opportunity. And I'm really excited to get training camp going. I wish it started tomorrow.
Well, having joined two organizations beforehand, right? New in Toronto and Seattle, and even Florida, really. But after having NHL experience, in your experience, how does the offseason work between now and there? Do you have Zoom chats together with the players? Is that even allowed? Is it one-on-one individuals? What do you do over the next few months to get ready as a newcomer coming in to get to know the players?
Yeah, I think it'll be just more casual, connecting with the players through different phone calls throughout the summer, not trying to bug them too much. But ultimately, like I said, just trying to get to know them as people. The hockey will take care of itself. There's lots of time for that, but just trying to get to know them and build relationships with them. That's first and foremost for me, always in the off season. And then there's lots of video for us to dive into and watch and become more familiar with. And, like I said, it's all really exciting. When you're in the NHL, I think we love studying the game, studying different teams. So we've all watched this team closely now for a long time. So I think we're all pretty familiar with a lot of the individuals, but as we know, the teams are constantly, changing, and there's individuals that come in and out every year in the NHL. So even for the new players to learn more about them and watch their game, and ultimately, again, I'm a big believer in trying to build on people's strengths, what they do really well. So that's really what I'm trying to learn over the course of this summer.
Paul, when you played as a player, you weren't a high octane offensive player. So where did you gravitate towards becoming, so good on the power play? Was it just because you're hey, I was a penalty killer, I didn't do that? So what was it that allowed you to become, renowned as a power play coach?
Yeah, I think over the years, I've just always enjoyed the offensive side of the game. I think there's power play aside, there's a big connection, especially in today's NHL, between ultimately the better you check or the harder you check, the more structure you have without the puck. I think it drives offense. Power play, obviously, a little bit unique to that, but I enjoy the offensive side. I enjoy being creative. I'm not afraid to try different things. And I think sometimes, those things don't work out, but other times you find something different. And the NHL obviously is a copycat league in a lot of areas, especially on special teams, I think, or even 5-on-5 for that matter. So I think it's our job as coaches to try to, stay a step ahead, quite frankly, and not be afraid to maybe think a little bit differently. But like I said, still making sure we're building on those strengths and that have existed here for a long time.
Well, Paul, congratulations on the new gig, and enjoy house shopping in Edmonton, because I'm assuming that's what's next on the list for you to move your family down from Calgary into to Edmonton. And then we'll see you around camp in September. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Great to be here.
There you go. That is Paul McFarland, the new assistant coach for the Edmonton Oilers. He's going to oversee the power play. Had success doing it in Florida, Toronto, and Seattle. And really, if you look at everywhere he's gone, it was the head coach who hired him, got fired, and then he got let go with him at the same time, which in a lot of cases happens, not always, but in a lot of cases, some guys like to come in and bring in their own guys. And obviously him and Knobloch have, not a long path of really working together before coaching against one another, but also a brief time with the Hockey Canada, more so just kind of knowing each other. And, he'll bring in a little bit of youth. Everybody's talked about youth. Well, they're getting younger. Allen's 35, their skills guy. McFarland's 39. Aubry's 47. So a little bit, not younger in the goalie coach department, but younger in the other ones. So we'll get your thoughts on that and more when we return. Wrap things up. Been a busy show, man. I can't believe the show's almost over. We'll return. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Canada's biggest appliance sale is at the Brick. Get up to $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Convertible fridge freezer start at just $199. Barbecues start at just $299. Get up to 60% off clearance models and below cost scratch and dent items. In-store only. Plus, pay 0% interest on appliances until 2029. Best of all, they'll beat any competitor's advertised price. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
5 trails blazed where others turn back.
15 secret swimming holes discovered.
50 incredible sights that made it all worthwhile.
Measure your Tacoma's reliability and memories, not just the mileage. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2025 Tacoma 4x4 double cab SR5 from $115 weekly for 60 months at 6.79% with $7,699 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Jump on OTR's party shuttle buses to Elks games, Riverhawks games, and concerts at Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, visit ontherocks.yeg.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It is the final countdown. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you on a lovely Monday afternoon. It is, if you're a big fan of the home run derby, it goes tonight. Then you got the MLB All-Star game tomorrow. Then they have a few days off, and then they will resume what should be a very entertaining second half. I know it's a little bit, but let's just call it the second half, even though we know we're more than 50% through this season. Should be good. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey guys, really enjoyed listening to McFarland. I didn't know he was that young. I'm watching on YouTube. It looks really young. Yeah, well, he'll be the big 4-0 in December later on this year. As I was looking up his hockey career on Hockey DB, but now he's a young guy, but he's been coaching for quite some time. So, and to me, a little bit. It was funny. What was the word Knobloch said? He brings a lot of passion and energy, and he felt like that was something that is important. Right. Like I will say that I think the Oilers group, adding in Ike Howard, adding in Matt Savoy, I think they need a little bit of an injection of some youthful exuberance because they're very much a professional team all the time. Like almost like there's captain series all over the place. And I think they need a little bit more in the long season. You know what? You have some laughs. You can be, and I'm not saying that they never do that. But it is a very kind of serious tone around the team. And I got some guys that naturally, like, Connor McDavid isn't Mr., giggles. That's, it's not really who he is. So I understand it, but I think it's something that, you need to bring in, maybe you bring in a coach who just a little bit younger, comes in a lot of, fired up and can just keep guys light. I think that's something that's necessary for this group that's, they've had lots of success. I know they haven't had the ultimate success, but people need to recognize like the Oilers are still really good. They've been very good. I expect them to be good again. I can't guarantee if they'll make the Stanley Cup final. It's hard to make it 3 years in a row. However, Florida's done it. Tampa Bay did it right before them. So it's definitely plausible. You can definitely do it. And you know what? Hey, sadly, the Bills showed you can get back 4 times in a row and lose all 4. So it is possible. Obviously, you would hope that's not the case. For the Oilers, I would be willing to bet if they got there 4 years in a row, they're not going to lose 4 times in a row. I would be pretty confident in saying that. So, but doesn't mean they'll get there. But I think this team has a lot of arrows pointing up, and they've made some changes. And change can be good. Winning teams make changes. It happens. So I don't think that's a negative at all. Greg's, I'm actually quite fired up about the new coaches. Not that anything against the old ones. I just think new ideas is a good thing. At times, the power play looked a bit stale, even though it's very good. Imagine if they get a few new wrinkles that people don't expect. Boom, they'll be even better. I also like the fact that we got a younger guy working with some young players on the power play. I think our second unit, I hope you're right, does get more opportunity this year. Hey, guys, I appreciate 40 being called young from Allison. Well, there you go. Hey, 40, in the real world, I think 40 is young. I know some people... depends, guys or gals get a little kind of caught up in the number game. I was like, what, at 40 didn't bother me at all. Heck, 50 didn't bother me. It's no big deal. Now, I remember when you were young, that seemed like that was like archaic old. Like when you were 20 and someone was 40, oh my God, like, are they even going to survive next week? So your perception does change as you get a little bit older. And suddenly you realize 40 is not that old. 50 is not that old. Now it's just like, hey. I remember and my father-in-law, who is 81, he says, he goes, you know who's old? 90-year-olds. So it's all perception. I should do a quick shout out here before we get to some of these other texts. I'm going to do a shout out to the Edmonton Kings on a dominant season in ball hockey. They won the Western Cup. They went undefeated this year in the playoffs, undefeated in the Western Cup. And dominated. So kudos to the young boys on the U13 perfect season for the Edmonton Kings. So shout out to that. I really gotten into ball hockey. I quite like it. So when you can be that good, that is pretty good. Obviously got a good group that overcame average coaching. So that's awesome. Hey guys, every time I hear Rocky Thompson, he sounds like an absolutely great guy. Oh, Rocky is a great human, man. Really like energetic. What you hear from a Rocky Thompson interview is kind of what you get in daily life. Like that guy he's a ball of energy all the time. I remember talking to the players when he first came in, he was coaching them in the Oil Kings. And they were just like, oh my God, like this guy's like, he's unreal. He's upbeat all the time. And, obviously had some great stories. And so for young kids, they're watching some of his old tapes and he would kind of help with the video guy and then make him up and be even better. Cause you're on the bus and man, you're on the bus a lot in junior. So you need something to kind of pass the time and make, 50 minutes here or there that just spices it up. He was great at that. And I think as a head coach, for people that had him when he was their head coach, he is again, a guy who players really gravitate towards because he is very much straight up front, and most coaches will definitely if you can be upfront and honest with them, they'll make a huge advantage for you. Hey, Greg, as long as the Oilers don't meet Florida again, I'm not worried. Yeah. Hey, I think what's interesting about Florida is like Florida had like the perfect playoff, and they earned it. Do I think that's repeatable? Are they going to have 8 guys with 18 points again? Like, this just doesn't happen. No, I don't think they are. It's like, how many of their guys had career years in the playoffs? Not in the regular season, in the playoffs. It's hard to do. So, look at the Oilers. The Oilers, when you see how they beat Vegas and how they beat Dallas, it wasn't because you had like out of this world performances from a lot of different players. Right? You just didn't. Like, yeah, they played well, but Vegas just didn't have a lot of offense, and Edmonton really stymied them. Right? Like, Edmonton just was like, hey, you guys, they didn't give them much. So I think that's good for Edmonton. Yes, Florida is a team like I hope the animosity carries over. Now, Edmonton's lost. Like, they don't have Kane. They don't have Perry. I don't think it's going to carry over, to be completely honest. And a lot of the chirps and on ice talking, I think that's not going to be there. But if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you cannot tell me you're the core guys that you loathe the Florida Panthers. You loathe them. You have to. Like, they ripped your heart out 2 years in a row, man. 2 years in a row. Hey, guys, quick dumb question. When negotiating McDavid's next contract, isn't the easiest contract to sign? What does Connor want? Done deal from Brad. Well, I don't know if it's that clear cut, but it's probably pretty close. Yeah. Now, because if Connor wants 20%, which that's the most you could get as a player. If he wants it, could you give it to him? Sure. But you would do so, say, Connor, if we sign this, your odds of winning are very much lower. Because that's just how it is in the NHL. Because you got to have a decent support system. You just do. Look at Florida. Arguably, their best line was their third line in the playoffs. So you need that. Now, the great part is you don't know from year to year where it's going to come from. You just don't. You have a gauge and you think it's going to come from that place, but all of a sudden you get a few guys that overperform or exceed expectations, and you got a much better team. So I don't know if it's that simple, but I think it's probably a sane conversation. Him and his agent, they look at the orders. They look at the salary cap. Okay. They look at the numbers. All right. I think we can get this. We want to win. We'll stay here. Like, now McDavid could shock everybody and sign for the same amount of money as Draisaitl. I don't think he's going to, but he could if he wanted to. And say, hey, you know what? We're here to win. Let's go. Because it would be like honestly, at the end of the day, so Connor McDavid has already made $100 million. Well, he hasn't, because when this contract expires, that was a $100 million contract over 8 years. Plus his entry-level deal, which had some bonuses and everything else. So he's probably up to like 106 mil, right? Then you look at his new deal. Now, if he wants, he could sign for 8 years if he wanted to. I don't think he would, but let's just say he does for fun. Sign that for 16 mil. Right? Now what are you getting? You're getting, what's that? Another 125 mil? Right? So he's got more money than he needs. He's already got more money than he needs. So if he wanted to, you'd say, you know what, let's go for whatever. Shorter term deal, 14, 15 mil. Just even if he signs at 15, a lot of people are going to think, oh, that's a deal. And in theory, he probably is. But once you're going to make $100 million. So you're going to make 150. You're going to make 170. You're going to make it 180. That extra 170 or 80 or 200 mil, that's not going to change his life. But you know what will change his life? Winning the Stanley Cup. That's the difference. So I won't be surprised if McDavid is at like 16, maybe less. Honestly, I won't be shocked if he takes less. So can they defer salary? Technically they could for one more year, but you can't after that. And it's not great. I don't see him doing that. I think what they would do is, instead of doing that, say, hey, you can get all your bonus money up front every year, put that into it. There you go. You got a year to make an investment on 15 mil instead of spread out over 10 months. That's a big advantage. So that's what I would do. Coming up tomorrow, lots of hockey and football, some baseball talk. Also, we're going to start introducing some new themes. Nice. And we'll even do another fantasy because a lot of you got into the fantasy talk, so we'll do that as well. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Ewell, your partner in power since 1975. For all electrical gear, one place, ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Hall of Fame defenseman Paul Coffey will not be behind the Oilers' bench next season, returning to his role as special advisor to ownership and hockey operations. Team also announcing the hiring of Paul McFarland as an assistant coach, Peter Aubry as a goaltending coach, and Conor Allen as a skills coach. Former goaltending coach Justin Schwartz was not offered a new contract. Sad news, as a longtime Toronto Blue Jays pitcher, Jim Clancy has passed away at the age of 69. The right-hander was a member of the inaugural Toronto Blue Jays team and went on to play the first 12 seasons of his 15-year career with the club. He's second all-time in starts, innings pitched, and complete games, and third all-time in wins with 128. Very cool news from the Major League Baseball draft as Riverhawks pitcher Carson Latimer was selected by the Cincinnati Reds in the 12th round, posting a 0.85 ERA this summer. Also, Major League Baseball news tonight, you've got the All-Star Game festivities getting going with a home run derby that's starting in about 10 minutes time tomorrow, Midsummer Classic, also just after 6 from Atlanta. In the NFL, New York Jets locking up wideout Garrett Wilson, signing a 4-year extension worth $130 million. And in the association, Victor Wembanyama announcing he's been cleared to return after suffering blood clots that limited him to just 46 games last season. Wembanyama, at 21, led the league in blocks despite only playing in those 46 games. And in the WNBA tonight, Chicago hosting the Lynx at 6, and at 8 o'clock, the Mercury in San Fran taking on the Valkyries. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it is Fox Sports Radio. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Kevin Carius. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports